Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are again on a Wednesday night. I'm your host, Jake Johnson, and you're watching Chill Stream. Come on in, take your shoes off. It's going to be great fun. We're going to talk about everything under the sun. We're going to talk about grandmas. We're going to talk about nuns. We're going to talk about kitties. We're going to talk about puns. We're going to talk about pools and fun and other things that rhyme with un. But most of all, we're going to talk about Bill Bennett. Hello, Bill. You're the first in chat tonight. You get the gold star, and Bill says, hello, Untethered Live fam peeps. Happy Wednesday. Hi, Jake. Salute from both sides of my head. How are you, sir? How is your week progressing so far? Thus and so. I have a thing on my shoulder. I got to fix that. Hold on. Hooked on feeling. There it goes. Thank you. It's amazing how touchy cameras are. They do not like light, but they require it. It's kind of interesting. Whoever invented them should be shot and given an award. Bill, it is lovely to be here, sir. Here's your gold star from Amanda. Amanda says, hi, Bill. And hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you. Happy hump day, camel. I hope everybody's doing good. Hi, Jake. How are you tonight? Like Miss Piggy on a prom night. Excited and a little froggy in the throat area. Amanda says, check out the new Facebook page. Why don't you? It is facebook.com/UntetheredLiveChillin'. It is a great new location. All the ladies are posting really funny memes, and it's a great place to hang out and share pictures, videos, texts, and chats, and get to know one another. So go check that out. Also, don't you want to have a cup of coffee with me? If so, go to the kitchen, pour yourself up a nice hot cup of coffee, and let's get talking about something. Mine's delicious. If you find yourself in the most unforgivable position of not owning a coffee cup, I can fix that. Look down in the description below. You can get one there. I recommend the first one. It has my face on it. It is fantastic, but there are other options for many, many things, including stainless steel tumblers with locking lids, the big ones and the little ones. It has the Untethered Live Bible Study logo on the front and all my platforms on the back. It holds your coffee hot for hours, looks great on a coffee table. And if you chug it at somebody, it'll leave a mark. So get one while supplies last. Also, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box if you want to show a little love. But if you want to throw a little change in my pocket and go jingle-lang-a-lang, if you want to, you can do that at CashApp, $ jakejohnsonband. I greatly appreciate you very much. And on with the show. Linda Davis is here. She says, hi all. Smiley face and wavy hands. Hi, Linda. How are you? Lovely to see you this evening. Thank you for jumping in. Amanda says, hi, Linda, hun. I will clear up here in a minute, hopefully. Oh, Lord. Amanda says, oh, can you dig it? Yeah, I can. I can dig it with a shovel or a hoe or a pick or a bow. I don't know why I'm rhyming tonight. John is here. He says, hey, family, how's it going? How's it all going, family? Hey, family, how's it all going, family? Fantastic, family. How you doing, family? Nice to see you. Amy's here. She says, hello, Amy. Lovely lady, nice to see you. You have got to remove this thing away from me. Squirting in my face. I ain't got enough trouble talking. She's got that thing squirting right in my face. What is in that? Pineapple. Why was it pointed at my head? It wasn't pointed
it because there's a candle burning right there.
She puts a candle in front of it, so she turns it so it's facing me. Her idea is don't spray the candle. Didn't even think it's going to spray Jake in the face. My studio smells lovely, though. Oily, but lovely. Thank you. Amanda says, hey, Nugget. And hi, Amy. And Amy says, I cleaned my coffee maker out with vinegar this morning. That's how you do it. Nothing else. Leave the cockroaches in it or whatever else is growing under the lid because that's part of the mystique of the coffee. You just run vinegar through it, and that's it. And then hot water one time, and then coffee. The first cup's going to be a little bit strong, staunchy, vinegary, but after that, perfect. I have a coffee maker out there that came out of a trailer, one of those kind that you mount inside the cabinet under the bottom, you know. It's got the pull-out coffee water here and the pull-out coffee carafe here. And, like from the 70s. It makes the best coffee in the world. I have no idea what's living inside of it. I'm scared to look. I clean the line and I clean the pot, and that's it. It makes the best coffee on planet Earth. But now I'm using what do you call that thing? Keurig. Because apparently I'm special. It's Keuriggy. It's Keuriggy. I have a weird camera thing going on here. I apologize. I'll fix it in a minute. Maybe that's it. Cool. Every time I change shirts, I got to change cameras. See, now this thing is going on. Stop that. Can't have nothing. This is why we can't have nice things. There. I think I got it. All right. Fab Daddy's here. He says, happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, Fab Daddy. How you doing, buddy? I was looking for you yesterday. I never did see you. I played a song for you. One that you said I got wrong. I don't anymore. Amanda says, hey, Fab. And Amanda says, nice, Amy. Is it working better now? Well, yeah, she cleaned it. It's obviously working better. Amy says, hi, y'all. And yep, it's working a little better. John says, I've listened to Kenny Rogers, just dropped in. Didn't know he was a rock star as well. Oh, Kenny Rogers? Yeah. He started out in a band called 5th Edition, I believe it was. 1st edition, 5th edition, something like that. It was like a pop. He wasn't a rock star. He was a preppy guy. They did like boy band, the equivalent of like the Backstreet Boys for back in the day. It was his generation's Backstreet Boys. Anyway, he did that. He played bass in that band. And then he became Kenny Rogers with You Picked a Fine Time to Leave Me, Lucille. Good stuff. I'm just going to have to change this shirt. I can see it now. I can't not worry about it. I'm a compulsive person. What do you mean, don't worry about it? It's like telling a gambling addict, it's all right, just place a bet. That's all I can see. That little thing right there on my shoulder clicking. Because it's white, but it's not white. It's eggshell. And my computer thinks it's green. It's not green, computer. It's eggshell. Stop trying to take it out. Fab Daddy says, if you care about the biggest pedo case in American history and wanted the truth, you are weak, say American President Trump. Really? I don't think that's what he said at all, Fab Daddy. I think what he said is that what you were talking about was made up by people on your side of the aisle to make people on his side of the aisle look bad. It's fake. That being said, who knows? I've already criticized the guy, but I'm not going to lie about him too. You have to understand that there's something big going on here. Very big. I'm talking the kind of people you don't ever know their names big. Big. That would bring the whole house of cards crumbling down if revealed. The kind of big that they do after school specials about. And what I'm trying to tell you is that can't happen. If that happens, everybody goes down. The whole thing. Every country, not just one. It's a big, evil thing that's been going on for generations. This is not new. And Trump has been pushed into a corner where he has to do something about it. This is his attempt of getting out of having to do something about it because he doesn't want to be the guy that brings the whole thing down. This is not a pedophile ring. This is an evil cabal that stretches back to the Garden of Eden and involves the key players of the powers or principalities of the air and the evilness of the world. This is not a thing that a man can do. The fact that they're calling it something is amazing to me. For generations, nobody even knew it existed. We're pointing at it now, poking it. I assure you, this is not a rabbit hole you want to go down. Amanda says, yes, Kenny. Yes, Nugget. Kenny Rogers is great. Lady, you're my knight in shining armor. I love you. I used to sound like that guy. Now I sound like this guy if he lost his voice and couldn't talk. Amy says, Trump just said to release any verifiable information related to the Epstein case. There's a lot of misinformation going around about that list. That list is fake. The fact that something is going on is real. I don't know that there is a list per se. There are definitely people that are guilty. There are definitely people that would go down if the information came out. But I don't think there's a client list. And if there is one, it's fake. It's been made up by the Democrats and has all kinds of fake names on it. That being said, I hope that they're secretly getting down to the bottom of it. Know the pattern. Trump has always worked this way, and every single time it's worked out this way. They'll say something, and for 2 weeks, everybody's sure they got him. Everybody's talking about his downfall. And then 2 weeks later, the truth comes out, and everything's the exact opposite of what was being said before. And Trump looks like a shiny piece of metal at the end of it. It rolls off him like water off a duck's back. There's no reason to think this time isn't exactly the same as every other time. So wait 2 weeks or 3 before you make a decision on anything, because what you're hearing now almost certainly is not the reality of what's happening. Fab Daddy. Amy says Trump will release the truthful information. I believe he will, if there is any to release. That's a red herring. What's a red herring, Fab? The client list? Yeah, I think so. Lady B says, hello, everyone. Hello, Lady B. Welcome back. Love from Alabama. Love from North Carolina. Nice to see you. Amy says, but Trump needs to shut up and get his administration to handle it. This is a chill stream, not politics night. There you go. Chill out. Correctamundo, Amy. Thank you for reminding us all we will behave. AI has decoded cat language, and now they have a 98% success rate at talking to cats, translating what they're saying. understanding what they're saying, giving commands to cats. Weird. I used it on my cat, and what it told me is that the world is secretly ran by cats, and one day they're going to take over. Right now, they got us right where they want us. We do all the work, and they sit back and eat all the food. It's pretty rich. I don't know how truthful the cat was being, but to be honest with you, he looked a little sketchy. Amanda says, our coffee pot's a dual Keurig. It makes cups and pots. Yes, it does. And deliciously, too. And as I've stated before, I will never complain as long as I'm not the one that has to make it. You do you. You want a pearly Keurig, you go right ahead. I'm happy with my little trailer trash coffee pot, but that's pretty sweet, too. I just don't want to have to work on it. Fab Daddy says, Trump got Ghislaine Maxwell a new trial. That's what happened. Well, she probably needs a new trial because the last trial she went to prison without ever admitting to any crime. It's a little shady. Nor did they produce any crime that she was guilty of. A lot of words, no evidence. So if she's going to testify, which has been the rumor that she's going to, she probably needs a new trial. And again, this is the chill stream night, not politics. Save it for Saturday. We love you, but we're trying to let our hair down. Amy Elizabeth says a red herring is a fish. Yeah, it's also a descriptor for an argument that has no weight to what's actually being argued. It's a misdirection, a red herring. It'll lead you down that road when the truth is over here, which is exactly what Epstein client list has turned into. There may have been some truth to it at one point. Right now, it's almost 100% propaganda. Almost certainly. You're never going to hear the truth. Listen to me. Like you've never listened to anybody before in your life, listen to me now. You are never going to hear the truth of this. It's not going to get out. It cannot get out. You understand that? They will kill everybody involved before one name gets released. You will never, ever hear the truth about what this is. They slipped into it by accident. They caught wind of something that was going on, that's been going on forever, and nobody talked about it. It was right out in the open, and nobody said a word until somebody did. And now, 20 years later, there's this big deal about it that will never go anywhere. It cannot. You understand? It'll bring the whole house of cards down, all of it. Not just us. Every other country that depends on us will go down too. You will never get the truth of this. You'll never find out whether Gus Grissom was killed or it was an accidental fire. You'll never find out who shot JFK. You're never going to hear the truth. Let it go. We live in a carefully crafted facade. I've been telling you this for 10 years. Everything is bullshit. Everything you think you know, everything you see, everything around you, everything you believe is all bullshit. All of it. All of it. There's not one true thing in your presence. Either take the red pill and go back to eating your steak and be happy, or wake up and know that you live in a lie and that everything you hear is supporting that lie. And that if you try to speak, you will be destroyed. No one has ever gotten in trouble for lying. The only people that die are the ones telling the truth. You hear me? The only presidents that ever get shot are good presidents that are trying to do something good for the people. Not one time has a sleazy Democratic president ever been shot at. Never. That's how you know. Nobody's ever gone to prison forever for telling the truth. They go for lying. I said that backwards. Nobody's ever gone to prison forever for telling a lie. They go for telling the truth. Amanda says, hi, lady. Amy says, chill stream, not politics night. Thank you, Amy. Amy says, she's not getting a new trial. She's been found guilty. Did you not read what I said? He just said no. No, he just said to release any truthful information. Let's chill, Fab. Okay. Fab says, oh, I'm chill. Amy's not joking about that, apparently. Calm down. John says, I never knew that, Jake. Thanks, Jake. You're welcome, sir. It's true. We live in a very scary place. Lady B says, Sunday I was enjoying the preaching. Poof. It went away, and I couldn't find y'all again. I was sad. Well, it's easy. Just go to YouTube and type in Untethered Live. One word, Untethered Live. And it'll bring up a picture of me somewhere. When you find that picture of me, click on it. And there's all my videos in that page. So now you know how to find it again. And when you get there, subscribe. And then press the bell icon. Bell icon. Looks like a bell. And then click the word all. And you'll get a notification every time I do a video. Amy says, R.I.P. Kenny Rogers. He had some awesome music. John, he died several years ago. Yep. And he had some awesome collaborative music, too. Some of the best duets ever was Kenny Rogers and so-and-so. Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. Kenny Rogers and Sheena Easton, or whatever her name was. Kenny Rogers and Smokey Robbins. Great duet music. Kenny Rogers and Conway Twitty, two guys that made a smoker's voice sexy again. I wish I could do that. They robbed me. They could get away with it. I can't do it for some reason. Oh, I know what the problem is. I figured it out. Watch it clean up. Bam! Clean as a whistle. Temporarily. Amanda says, oh no, lady, sorry, hon. And Lady B says, love you, Amanda. Smiley face with hearty eyes. Amanda says, heart, lady. Amy says, there's a huge storm rolling in here. Yeah, I can feel it in my bones. We got one looming over us, too. John says, that shocks me. I've listened to music all my life. I never knew that shocked. You never knew about Kenny Rogers, or that he was in a boy band when he was younger? Look it up. It's either 5th edition or 1st edition. I can't remember which. Starts with an F, though. 1st edition, I think it is. And you'll hear Kenny Rogers when he was in his early 20s. Amanda says, oh no, Amy. I was doing laundry today. Nice and sunny. Not a cloud out. And as I'm hanging the clothes out, boom, it starts pouring rain. I was like, WTF, really? LOL. JML. Just my luck. I got one. Bill Bennett says not many criminals keep records of their wrongdoings, right? There you go. One day the Democrats are going to realize that the whole enterprise, government, is a crime. It's organized crime. That's what they do. That's the job. You not see it? That's why people get a certain height in society and then they run for president. It allows them political cover. Think about what you're saying. It involves war, guns, and money, and drugs. It's a crime. The whole thing. The whole system is built on crimes. That's why it's bad. That's why Christ said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and unto God what is God's. That's why he makes the distinction. Because they're not the same thing. Amy says, exactly, Bill. And Fab Daddy says, thousands of hours of tape showing perpetrators. Yet, there is nothing to see here. Well, you don't know that there's thousands of hours of tape. You just heard people talking about it for years and years and years, and you believe it to be true. But you don't know that to be true. You've never seen 1 inch of tape. You've never seen one container with tape in it. You've never seen any evidence pointing that somebody went to that island and was videotaped other than news anchors saying so. Do you not understand you're being fed like a mushroom? Shoveling bullshit in your mouth. Lady B says, Lunamite, or Luminite, Luminate, 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 got it. Money. Throwing up money and money in bundles. I'd take some of that, Lady B. You got some? CashApp, $ Jake Johnson Band. Listen, obey, react. Listen, obey, react. I'm just kidding. John H. says, I was a bit tearful today listening to Ozzy's final show. Love Ozzy. I don't love Ozzy, but I do feel what you're feeling because he is a staple of my childhood. He's been around as long as I have been. What that really says to me is, oh, I'm getting old too. Soon I'm going to be saying bon voyage. I don't know how I feel about that. Amy says, did y'all see the flooding in New York City? I did not. What's happening in New York City? Amy says, Nugget, that was an awesome concert. And Fab Daddy says, I saw New Jersey got hit hard with flooding. That's crazy. What are they flooding from? Is it a hurricane or a leak? Or a monsoon? A tsunami? And John says, meow. What am I saying? Well, I'm not AI, but you can ask AI and they might be able to tell you. That's what I'm interested in. I'm going to get AI and figure out how to give commands with the meow, have it translated back to the cats, and see if I can get them to build a fence around my house and guard it. I wonder if we could parlay cats into a workforce, because I have a lot of freeloaders out there that need to be slaved up. I could have the world's first elite cat fighting force. Cat Force 5. Ninja cats. We could take over North Carolina and set up shop at the town hall somewhere and dictate goings on of the city and have people bringing in tribute money to keep them safe from the roving gangs of cat terrorists that'll be roaming the alleys everywhere. Yeah. I'm going to use AI the way it was intended. Fab Daddy says 7.3 earthquake in Alaska created a tsunami warnings. Oh, it created tsunami warnings? Well, that's good luck then there. Thank God it didn't create a tsunami. What did it do? Shake the earth and it said, oh, watch out, they might create a tsunami. It created tsunami warnings. Nice. Awful considerate. Linda says, Amy, have you heard from Kevin? I hope he is okay. I haven't heard from Kevin either. What's wrong with Kevin? My chat jumped. Hang on. There we go. Lady B says, Amanda, that has happened to me too. Sunny and clothes hanging out, then rain. Yeah, it sucks. Amy says, Kevin is fine. Good. Glad to hear it. John says, Amy, Ozzy's from Birmingham, United Nation. Nope. I guess it is United Nation, isn't it? UK. United Kingdom. Yeah. Birmingham, the United Kingdom. I live 4 streets away from him. That's crazy, Ozzy. John, go get a picture of Ozzy's house. You could sell that here. People would be into that. Amanda says, it sucks, lady. I was like, where did that come from, LOL? And only lasted about 10 minutes. Just long enough to wet everything and get you in the house and stop doing what you were doing. But at least I got cooled off hanging out clothes. Nice. Then they will dry tomorrow. Why don't you have a dryer, Jake? You're a man. I'm poor. What can I say? It's good exercise hanging out clothes. Linda says, that's good, Amy. Thanks. Amy says, I can't find my trash cart. I forgot where I left it when I went on break. Have you looked in the trash cart locker under T? You might have placed it under K, not thinking. Amanda says, oh no, Amy. Call it. Here, cart. Here, cart. John says, the Epstein files will be like the JFK files decades later. Still don't know. Exactly. And there's a reason you don't know. Because that, too, is one of those high-profile things that everybody's involved in. And if anybody knew, it would, first of all, it would destroy the illusion of authority that we have for the government. Second of all, it would tell you without any doubt they are your enemy. And third, it would cause you to no longer trust them to run your life. You really think they're going to let that out? No. All the political power is in you trusting the government. If you just put your foot down and said no, and enough of you did, they would be powerless. You could affect nations. If all the truckers in the United States of America all collectively decided to take 1 day off, 1 day, and every truck from sea to sea just stopped running, it would bring this country to its knees in 1 day. Literally. They would give you anything to get you back up and running again. Believe that. That's the power of the government. It's an illusion that keeps you busy and in line. That's why they teach you at school how to answer a bell and show up on time and sit quietly in your desk. They're not teaching you to be a thinker. They're teaching you to be an employee. That's what school is. It starts at an early age. The earlier the better. Pre-K, pre-K. Right out of the womb. Give your kid to somebody and let them indoctrinate them. It's on their clothes, in their coloring books, on their TVs, everywhere you look. Pay attention to what's going into your head, because that's what the world is. Open your eyes. You are no longer sleeping. You have been untethered from reality. Now you live with it. Fab Daddy says Trump is the deep state. No, he's not. The deep state was here before Trump was. Think about that. Amanda says everything is bullshit. Yes, it is. All of it. All of it. Even your little political belief system. You learned that from somebody else who invented it to keep you in line. Sorry. Wake up and smell the roses. You live in the Matrix. Amanda says, wrong, Fab. Yeah, Trump is not the deep state. Trump is just a wild card that they didn't expect. If the deep state had its way, Hillary Clinton would still be president right now. Because that's what was in the plan. They even printed Time magazine. They printed all the prints with Hillary as president. That's how sure they was she was going to win. They had to recall all of the magazines and print the one with Trump on the cover. Really, go look at it. They knew she was going to win because they set it up that way. Trump is an anomaly, and that's why they hate him so bad. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying I agree with everything he does. But one thing I know for certain is he's playing by his own book, not by the globalist playlist, which in it of itself is a reason to vote for that man. Because the other playlist is bringing you ever so closer to the end of the world. Do you not understand that? The team you play for is guiding you to your destruction. It is taking away your autonomy. You're welcome. Amy says, puts hands over ears, not listening to Fab, who suffers from extreme Trump derangement syndrome. I think he's just pushing my buttons. I really do. I think secretly he's a Republican. Which, in case you're wondering, I am not a Republican. I am a conservative. I am not a Republican. And yes, there is a difference. And not like there's a difference between a liberal and a lefty. That's not the same thing. Apples and oranges. Amanda says, agreed, Amy. And Lady B says, John, do you know if there's a real British short hair cat? I'd say probably so, yeah. I don't know if that's a particular breed or not, but there are definitely short-haired cats in Britain. I mean, they have an accent and everything. They go, meow. It's very pretentious. Amanda says, I think lady is subject. I know. I'm just making sure. It's my job to say that stuff. That's all. John says, no, it comes from China, I think. The short-haired cat? Maybe. I don't know. The lady says, what is subbed? There's the answer to your question, Amanda. It means that you've pressed the subscribe button on my channel, and then you get notifications when I go live. It's free, but there's a button that says subscribe. Press it. Amanda says, subscribe, Lady B. Linda says, for some reason, my bell doesn't work. I never get notifications. Weird. Have you went back and tried it? Click the bell and then click all. Yeah, that's weird. Some other people I've heard don't get notifications either. I never get notifications, and I'm subbed to that channel. My phone never tells me I go live. I don't know why, but Amanda does get notifications. Amanda says, if you have YouTube notifications off, then you won't, Linda. Well, do you know how to tell her to turn it on? Maybe other people can benefit. Lady B says, I was looking up Jake Johnson preaching. Well, that's probably why. It's under Untethered Live. See that? That's the name of the channel, Untethered Live. I don't know that my name is associated with it. It may be, but I don't know. Amanda says, LOL, lady. Nope. Untethered Live. Fab Daddy says, the ad is frozen. Time to reboot. I'm sorry. I have no control over the ads. Linda says, I get YouTube notifications, but none from this channel. It's got to be somewhere. I mean, try unsubscribing and resubscribing. Maybe that'll help. And lady says, yeah, I subscribed the first night. Well, you should get a notification when I go live then. Did you hit the bell icon? It's right beside the word subscribe. There's a bell there. Click that, and it says all and a couple of other things. Click all. ALL. Lady B says, we are under another dangerous heat advisory. Yeah, it's been really hot the last week. Fab Daddy says, I've had to reboot 3 times in under 30 minutes. YouTube is broken. That's terrible. I hope your phone is okay. Or your computer. You might have to, if you're on a computer, you might need to update your browser. Because that'll cause it to crash. Amanda says, maybe YouTube has their thumb on it again. That's possible. They do shadow ban me. Or they have. They swear they're not. They say, why would we stop you from making money? We make money if you make money. And then I'll say, because you don't agree with my political beliefs. And they'll say, that's nonsense. We're just about making money. Well, I can see when the trend goes way down for no reason. I know when that's organic and when it's done on purpose. The Fab Daddy says, Pam Bondi mentioned thousands of hours of tapes on a new cast. Yeah. She also said that she was going to release information to the world, phase 1. And she gave everybody, she pulled in all these influencers from podcasts, young people, and gave them all white binders and then had a photo op. And what was in the white binders is stuff that was already out there. Not one new thing was in there. It was all stuff we already knew. So she's a big fat liar. Why, I don't know. But she's in on it somehow. On the newscast. Got it. And Amanda says, because he had a security camera everywhere. That's the videos Bondi was talking about. Yeah, he did have a lot of security cameras on that island. That's not the same as taping people doing bad things. Fab Daddy says, I can't believe that you guys don't care. Nobody said that. Did you hear anybody here say we didn't care? Why would you think that? You see, that's what your side does. You don't get the response that you want, and so you add in things that nobody believes or says. You are creating a narrative to yourself as we speak. You're gaslighting yourself. Who said we didn't care? I personally believe that if anybody's guilty of pedophilia, they ought to be tossed into a wood chipper and turned on high or frappe. Day one, if there's proof. That's how much I care. However, I'm also a little bit concerned about people's rights and judging people in the media before they've had a right, their God-given right, to have evidence provided against them. You know, like some people getting accused of things they didn't do, like the Trump derangement syndrome for the past 8 years. I'm kind of against that too, Fab Daddy. Don't you think if there was anything in them files that they could have used against Trump, that they would have used it by now? Is there any reason in your mind that they would not use it if there was a big smoking gun against Trump? Get that thought out of your head and stop being a child. EA's here. He says, good evening, everybody, and hello, Abdullah. Hello, EA. Nice to see you, buddy. How are things in your neck of the woods? Those are Moroccos. The female Moroccos. They're Moroccas. Amanda says, hi, EA. And Bill says, why do people have Trump? Why do people hate Trump so much that they cannot see the good he has done? God help us. Our country is broken. Well, Bill, the reason that they hate Trump so much, I've already stated, because he doesn't belong to their little club and they didn't expect him to win. He snuck in under the radar and took everything from them, and no matter what they've thrown at him, he has won repeatedly, and it drives them up a wall that they cannot nail this guy because he's actually a good person. He's actually trying to do something good for the country, and he actually don't care about all this drama that's came up since he's been here. All he wants to do is business, and if they'll let him do it, the country will be amazing. They're not going to do that, though. They're going to get in his way every chance they get and ruin any opportunity you may have of living in a good place. And most of you will vote for it because you're dumb enough to believe the rhetoric that you hear on the nightly news. Not you personally, you in general. Amanda says, no, we don't, because it's all bullshit. Don't care the bullshit, right? Those that care are weak, says Fab Daddy. Well, I tell you what, Fab Daddy. You come on over here anytime you want to and stand right up here in my face and tell me how weak I am because I care. And when you open your eyes, you'll realize that I'm not weak. Or scared. Or easily pushed around. Weak. Where'd you hear that? Those that repeat things they hear on CNN constantly are weak. Amanda says, because they have Trump derangement syndrome, Bill. If things aren't going their way, they cause problems, typically. Linda says, hi, EA, good to see you. And Amy says, I sent you videos of the flooding in New York. Jake, all right, I'll check it out when the show's over. Rich S., what's up, buddy? Welcome to the show. Hold on, my chat jumped. Rich says, cheers. Cheers, mate. Cheerio. Top of the morning to you. Linda says, hi, Rich. Smiley face with teeth. Bill Bennett says, Fab, I'm sure there is hours of tape. He is dead, and they have no real evidence or cash. Cash Patel and Dan Bongino would have prosecuted. Yeah, they got stuck into a position they weren't very happy about either, because they intended to go out and break this thing wide open and tell the world what was going on. And when they got there, the man in the tall black suit said, this is what's really going to happen. And he pushes a little file across the table with JFK on the cover of it. And when he opened the file, there was a picture of Bongino's family. Something like this. I'm making this up, but something like this occurred. And then they had to go out and say what was true. There's no evidence. They can't say that he killed himself. They can't say that he's guilty because they don't have any evidence. Here's the thing you may not know, Fab Daddy. All of this evidence was in a Democrat FBI stronghold for 5 years in New York City. That's where Pam Bondi got it from. I want you to think about that for a minute. And now they're saying there's no evidence. So in your little head, jump to a conclusion of what you think that might mean. They had evidence in the FBI stronghold in the Democrat city. They had to subpoena them to get it because they wouldn't give it up. Then they sent it in truckloads to Pam Bondi's office. Truckloads. And now there's no evidence that points to anybody in particular. Do you think maybe they destroyed the evidence that would almost certainly doom them all? It's just a theory. I don't know. But I'd say it's a good possibility. Rich smiles. Amanda says, that's like the mayor in Los Angeles giving illegals a cash gift card because they're scared to work and leave their houses because they might get deported. But LA is $9 billion in debt already. Shaking my head, dumbasses. Yeah, LA never ceases to amaze me at what level they'll go to be idiots. Like cutting their own water supply off to save a little fish that nobody even knows exists. It would be cheaper to relocate the fish, but whatever. Amanda says, hi, Rich, and Rich says, peace. Amy says, it's pouring down rain. It's pouring down rain, and I'm taking the trash to the other building, so I don't have to go outside to put it in the dumpster. Trash humper dumpster. Dumper humper dumpster pumper. Yeah, jumper. Amy says, there's a sky bridge between both buildings. It goes over the street. Nice. That's the way to do it, Amy. Sky bridge. Amanda says, and the pot farm they just busted with over 300 illegals and 12 children ages 10 to 14 working. The owner has ties to Newscomb. Imagine that. They have slave labor in California. Why don't you care about that, Fab Daddy? If you care, you're weak, right? Make them kids earn you some money. Rich S says the problem with the whole Epstein thing is that Pam Bondi should have said she will review and report back what actions, if any, she didn't. She lied, and now trust is on the chopping block. Yeah, she got over her skis. She got too excited and thought she was going to show everybody what a star she was. Big problem there, Pam. I hate to say it, but that's why you don't have girls run things. I don't mean that in a bad way, ladies, but these kind of things happen a lot. Melody, welcome back. Nobody trusts Trump anymore here in Europe. I hear you, Melody, but you just wait. Wait a couple weeks and then see what happens. Rich says, they projected an image of transparency when they had no business doing that. And Trump is not pushing her on it because obviously the evidence is too damning to the power brokers. Rich understands. That's exactly right. It's too powerful. It cannot come out. They're not going to let it come out. You were never going to hear the truth of this. Ever. You're never going to know who killed Epstein. You're never going to know what was on those tapes. She said what she should not have said. She didn't get the memo, obviously, to shh. We're going to quietly, we're going to sweep it. Yes, everybody has to sweep it under the rugs because it's too powerful. It's like having the Ark of the Covenant or something. You can't just bring it out and open. Which, incidentally, is the case with the Ark of the Covenant. They know where it's at. Amanda says, hi, Melody. Melody says, hi. Amanda says, why not, Melody? Why doesn't anybody trust Trump anymore in Europe? I mean, I know why, but why do you say? John says, that 12-year-old girl I told you last night wearing a Union Jack flag dress, they have apologized to her now. Awesome. And she's a headliner at Tommy Robinson's rally in September. Fair play, Patriot. Congratulations. Yeah, they don't need to be pushing people away from their pride. That's what pulls us together, oddly enough, is our community pride. Our pride in each other is what pulls people together. If you want true unity, you need to let people show unity by showing pride in who they are. They are systematically destroying that in the world and then telling you that it's a shame that we're not unified. We want somebody to bring us all together, but we're going to stop you from doing anything that will make you come together. Seems like you want the opposite. Seems like you really want to drive us apart so that we're easier to control. Because if that's what you wanted, the first thing you would do is take away national identity. Right? That's what, when I was a kid, we were proud to be Americans. We had American flags. We burned the Iraqi flag at the bus stop. On paper, we drew it and then burned it because we felt like patriots. We had no idea what that war was about. We were children, but we were patriots, and so were the grown-ups. Now, you're bad if you love the country you live in. I think that's weird. Melody says, because he didn't stick to any of his promises, specifically to end the war in Ukraine, instead he is arming them with all he got. Well, he's not arming them. That's not true. But he did try, and the Democrats got in his way every step of the way, and that's the reason that war has not ended, because they don't want it to end. There was 2 peace talks happening before Trump was elected, and Biden administration kiboshed both of them. They tore the paperwork up in their faces. 2 times Putin tried to have peace talks, to sign a peace treaty. This war has been being pushed for a long time, and they want it to happen. That's why it's happening. It's not Trump's fault. They're scapegoating him on that one. Believe me. I don't think there's anything he could do about it. It was set in motion before he ever got here. Amanda says, you have to have YouTube notifications on in your phone settings to get the notifications under YouTube. All it says is notifications, select all. Well, there you go. Maybe that'll help. Kevin Bernard, what's up, my brother? Nice to see you, my friend. Kevin says, hello, everyone. I'm a mod in another podcast. I just dropped in to hit that like button. Well, thank you, Kev. You can be a mod in this one. I trust you. Amanda says, hi, Kevin. And Kevin says, I'll be back soon. All right, sir. Thank you for being here. And thanks for that like. Kevin says, hello, Amanda. Amanda says, that's not true, Melody, about arming them. No, he's not arming them. That's a lie. Whoever told you that told you something wrong. Biden armed them. Now, there may be deals that were made when he was president that Trump has to honor. But Trump didn't make any of those deals. Believe that. Helps my throat. It is so muggy here today. It's like the heat, you can feel the heat rising up from the floor. I have an air conditioner on right beside me and I can't even feel it. John says, hi, Kevin. Kevin, thumbs up. Melody says, it is truth. I listened to him specifically saying it for last week every single day. Saying what? Can you show me what video you watched him say that he was arming Ukraine? Amanda says, and the war isn't because of Trump, it's because of Biden. And Trump just said yesterday he wants all the death to stop regardless. He's still trying. Yeah. And it wasn't even because of Biden. It actually started under the Obama administration. They started pushing buttons with Moscow then. You can go back and watch all those videos of when Hillary Clinton was a State Department, and you can hear her patronizing Russia. So much so that I began to ask, why is she doing that? We're not at war with Russia. They're not our enemy. Why is she pushing them like that? Saying things about them and, prodding them. Way back then. And yes, it escalated over time. And then through the Biden administration, they were playing the same playbook. So they kept doing it. And it got worse and worse until the war actually broke out. But you can go back all the way back to where Hillary presented Putin with that push button, the easy reset button. Stupid. That's when it began. And you can see it from there on out. John says, when it's in writing, when it's in writing, don't listen to hearsay. Right. Don't listen to hearsay. Make sure that you're getting information from correct sources. Amanda says, and it's Zelensky who won't stop. He wants American boots on the ground, and Trump won't do it. Right. Yeah, that's the reason that Zelensky keeps pushing, because he wants us to honor some kind of security deal that we get nothing out of, which puts our military in the war so that he can run roughshod and act like a bigwig with American military in Ukraine. If Trump is trying to start that war, why wouldn't he already have the military there? Why does he keep telling him no? Melody says he can stop the war immediately. How? If he wants to. Take all the American military personnel out of Ukraine, stop supplying them with all weapons and missiles and intel. He has never done that. Well, they don't have any of that. The only American stuff they have was sent to them by Joe Biden. And the only military that is there that I know of was the military sent to train them how to use what Joe Biden sent them. That's the only military I'm aware of that is ours, that is in Ukraine. I'll admit that I don't know a lot about what's going on over there because I don't care. But I think your information is incorrect. I'll be glad for you to show me some videos that prove it wrong, though. Just post whatever evidence you have and we'll look at it. John says, Amanda, that will never happen. And Amanda says, we don't have any boots on the ground there. I didn't think we did. John says, Trump is trying to stop all wars. Fact. Yeah, it ain't just Ukraine, it's all of them. Which he's been mildly successful at in all of them except for the Ukraine one. He's got two people that have been fighting for thousands of years in a peace talk right now. Imagine that. He pulled off the biggest ceasefire in history. You never heard about it, but he did. That's why they're giving him the Nobel Peace Prize now. Amanda says, no, Nugget. Trump won't help either side. He said, stop it now, and refuses to help by putting boots on the ground to stop it. It's not Trump's problem. It's Biden who caused it. I agree. Well, so much for this not being a political night. Melody says, yes, he does, Amanda. American contractors, mercenaries, and American intel operators, and American weapons. Again, those are called people that were sent there to train the Ukrainians on the weapons that Biden sent them. That's not boots on the ground. That's not our military. That's a few select people sent there by the Biden administration. Not boots on the ground. That's a very specific phrase that means our military is active in that region. It is not. If it were, make no mistake about it, everybody would be dead. And the war would be over. Amanda says, exactly, John. He just said that yesterday. Right. Rich S says, Melody, Trump just brought in NATO specifically to tell Putin that half the world supports Ukraine, so get ready for peace through strength. Yep. That means basically if Putin don't stop World War III. That's the implication. We might have World War III, but it'll be Putin that causes it under these circumstances. That's the reason he would pull back. Unless he wants World War III, in which case he'll call Trump's bluff and then we'll go to war. Then you'll have your boots on the ground. And then you'll see what a real military does. You do realize that we have the only military in the world with that kind of strength, right? All the other militaries are tiny in comparison. All of them. And Amanda says, you're mistaken. You're mistaken, Melody. Sorry. Trump has removed everything that's America's from Ukraine. Fab Daddy says, I read Trump called people that cared about Epstein as weak MAGA people. Really? You read that? Where did you read it? The Huffington Post? Don't take me saying people that are weak personally. I'm using Trump's word. No, you're not. See, that's the problem. You're not using Trump's word. You're using whatever rag you read's words about Trump, which you can't verify or have made no attempt to do so. That's how people get in trouble, running their mouth about things they heard without bothering to look into it to see if it's real. Trump didn't say that. Sorry. April Rain. Hi, everyone. Hi, April. How are you, sweet lady? By the way, hit that like button, everybody. Like, subscribe, share, support, join, and...
DJ, now I lay me down to sleep. Pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, VJ, my best friend, right through it all, VJ. If I die before I wake.
CashApp $, Jake Johnson Band. Amanda says, hi, April. Angela Ashkins is here. She says, hello, all. Heart and smiley face with herpes. John says, I support no wars, but it happens. Agreed. It does happen. I've got such a headache. Anybody got an aspirin? A Tylenol, some Pepto-Bismol. April says, Amanda, Jake, Fab Daddy, good to see you. Hi, darling. How is your Wednesday going? Ours is politically charged. Amanda says, hi, Angela. And right, John. Rich says, hi, Angie. 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 April says, hi, Angela. Rick. Rich. John, Kevin, Linda, much love, heart. Yeah, Linda, what you talking about over there being so quiet? John says, hi, April, darling. I hope all is well, heart. Nice. Good move, John. Amanda says, and it's caused by Biden and Trump is trying to clean up the bullshit. It remains to be seen whether he'll be able to, though. Fab Daddy says, happy Wednesday, April. April says, hi, Melody. Good to see you, and thanks, John. And I'm all right. And you? Oh, Jesus. Trump is committing political suicide. Is he now? Yeah, they said that last time he won an election. And the time before that, oh, thank you. And the time before that, goodies. Yeah, everybody wants Trump really badly to go away. It's not going to happen. Pardon me. If you don't mind me asking, Melody, how old are you? Ballpark is fine. Teens, early 20s, under 12, over 12. And Amanda says, no, he is not. He's not committing political suicide. Rich says, hi, April Rain. April says, hi, Rich, love, good to see you. How's it going? How's it hanging, dude? Okay, 12. A Melody. Just hang in there, honey. I know that the world is confusing right now for people your age. I assure you that everything you're hearing now will be completely different in 2 weeks. So take my advice. It's coming from a good place. Advice. I love you, and I want you to see the world for what it is, not for what is being sold to you. So take my advice. Anything you think about, wait 2 weeks before you make a judgment on it. 2 weeks. That's 14 days. If you'll just wait, you'll see the whole thing unfold in 14 days, and then the reality of the situation will come to light. That first thing that happens the first 24 hours of a news cycle, though, is all bullshit. You're being lied to. I'm trying to convince people of that everywhere. You're not the only one, and it's okay. We understand. But there are people out here, this guy, who is trying to set the record straight for your edification and for your comfort. The world is not falling apart. The sky is not falling, and Trump's not the Antichrist. Amanda says, wow, I'm completely amazed at the amount of Trump derangement syndrome that's around. Oh, it gets worse. Believe that. There's people literally clawing at their eyes over that guy. Oh, John hits me with a 5-pound super chat. He says, bring peace to the world and have a cup of coffee. Amen, John. God bless you, sir. Thank you for that 5 pounds. And that looks incredibly good on my YouTube. John says, good to see you, Rich. Thumbs up. Rich says, better than I deserve. That's nice to hear, Rich. Always good to be better than you deserve. April says, that's good to hear, but why don't you deserve it? Yeah, why don't you deserve to have a good life there, Rich? Trying to be humble, says Rich. It's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way, isn't it, Rich? I know I have trouble with that. Amanda says, that's awesome, Nugget. Fab Daddy says, Taco Trump can't be trusted. Really? Taco Trump. You really still going with that? Yeah, the left really can't meme. You guys don't have any clue how to be funny. You've lost your humility. You don't know how to be funny. Don't try to meme. It doesn't look good on you. Your nicknames are stupid. Taco Trump. Ridiculous. Sleepy Joe. Now that's a nickname, and it sticks because it's true. That's what the thing you're missing. The nickname has to be true. April says, oh, gotcha. Thumbs up. And Amanda says, rolling on the floor, laughing my apple off, Fab, shaking my head. April says, I don't think Epps, you know. I don't think Epps either. Melody says, she, meaning Pam Bondi, said she got the list on the table. Yes, she did. And she lied. And now she's being forced to show her hand, and she don't have a hand to play. And it's very humiliating to everybody. All the other higher-ups, Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Trump, all of those people are furious that she put them in that position because they don't have any evidence to show. As far as evidence is concerned, they will never let that information out. So it doesn't exist. It might exist, but you're never going to see it. Amanda says, Taco Trump, that's great. He don't fold for nothing, even being shot. Wow. Ha. See? When you try to meme, it gets thrown back in your face and makes you look stupid. So don't do it. Let the right do the memeing. They're good at it. And John says, I am in Europe. I trust Trump more than the leftists. Amen. April says, but I really don't give a rat's ass about that ugh. I can't stand any of the mess. Well, that's the world we live in, honey. Melody says, I agree with Fab Daddy. I knew you would. That's okay by me. But just be warned. Fab Daddy says things to push my buttons to give me the release the Kraken moment so that I have something to talk about on the show. It's a valuable service to the show. And I, in turn, make him look retarded in front of everybody. And he takes it because he's a good, upstanding man. If you put yourself in that boat, it's going to come at you too. Just so you know. Amanda says, so you're a leftist too, Melody? Now, one of those things is a real leftist. The other one actually has common sense. I'll leave it up to you to decide which is which. April says, Jake. Right? April says, true fact, though. I usually do. Amy says, so much for a chill stream. I know, right? I was trying to go the other direction. I even talked about AI cat talk. Nobody cared. Let's talk about pedophiles. PDFs. Fab Daddy says, I am not a lefty, but you can paint me any color you like. I don't paint you any color, Fab Daddy. I kind of get what you're doing, and I think I'm right about that. If I'm not, you've yet to say so, and I've mentioned it several times, so. And judging by how you like to call me wrong, seems like you would have said something if I was wrong. Amanda says, it happens, Amy. Too much going on. Yep, the news cycle is alive with nonsense. Melody says, no, I'm not a leftist. Can you come up with a different label? No, because that's what that is. And we're not labeling you. That's what you're called. If you do left things, you are a lefty. Sorry. Progressive, says Rich. Yeah, progressive. That's what started all this nonsense. Liberals used to actually have common sense. I didn't agree with them, but you could talk to them. You can't talk to a lefty progressive. They're just completely retarded. April says, LOL, Fab Daddy, ha ha ha. And Amanda says, woke Democrat. Right on. Melody says, I don't subscribe to any labels. Well, that's the trouble with labels, Melody. You don't have to subscribe to them. That's why they're called labels. They're stuck on you. You get them honest. It's not your choice to be called what you are. You're just called what you are, like female or male. You just were born that way. Angela says, Melody, she said files. Right, she did say files, not evidence. Rich S says, what are your pronouns, Melody? Yeah, I identify as the guy who was writing this argument. And I would appreciate it if you would respect my pronouns, which are, you're right. April says, hit that like button, everybody. Subscribe, support, and share. Thanks, Kevin. Thumbs up. Yes, please do. Subscribe, share, and support. And feed Jake if you can. If you cannot, that's quite all right. This is a free show. Rich S says, if you're French, then enough said, LOL. Right on. Yeah, you can't not be French. It's ridiculous. I do not care. I'll eat a baguette and smoke a cigarette and be happy. Melody says, Trump said that himself on camera just 3 days ago. Said what himself 3 days ago? What's that? And why does it ruffle your feathers so much that he said something that you disagreed with? People tend to do that, you know. Amanda says, listen to what Trump said yesterday. Right. Or today. April says, it is in Florida. Too muggy, that is. It's muggy in Florida. Right. Amanda says, CNN, MSDNC, ABC, all of them don't count. They are all bullshit. Fake news. Fake news. Fake news. Rich says, I have a thing for sweaty gals. I hear you, Rich. Where's Debbie at tonight? I haven't heard Debbie talking. Are you here, Debbie? She's a sweaty gal. Or she was last night. Rich says, just an FYI. Flying yodeler incident? What is FYI? Fantastic Yentl instinct. 4th year investigator. Fuzzy, yucky immigrant. I could do this all day. Melody says, my pronoun is she, Rich, which means you're a girl. You don't have a pronoun. You're just her. You only have a pronoun if you're not a her, but want to be called one. That's a pronoun. If you are the thing, that's a noun, not a pronoun. Angela says, Melody, what did Trump say specifically? Right, that's a good question, Angela. What is the thing that he said 3 days ago that ruffled your feathers? And Amanda says, Trump on the White House lawn yesterday. Rich says, she, they, them? Question. She, her. April says, it's so sticky when you're sweaty and hot. LOL. I hate it when it's sticky. It's so sticky and I hate it when it's sticky. Name that movie. Rich says, that's what I'm talking about. Sweaty women. April, watch out. Rich likes a sweaty woman. Bow chicka wow wow. April says, LOL. I gotcha. Ah, sweaty. Right there. In the little valley of the ninnies. In the valley of the ninnies. Ninny Valley. Angela says, Rich, it's she. Why are you hassling her? He's just messing with her, that's all. Amy says, I've been sitting on the toilet listening to this crap. I know, right? Melody says, Rich, either you are mocking me or You don't know how to read. My pronoun is she, and it is singular. Pronoun. Well, that's not a pronoun if it's true. It's a noun if you're calling yourself the thing that you are. That's a name, a label, if you will. It's a noun. It's only a pronoun if you're not the thing that you want to be called. And if you add an ly, it's an adverb. April says, Amy, ℂ𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝. Amanda says, LOL, Amy. Rich says, I just got out of the pool, and this chill stream is ice cold, so my nipples are hard. Right on. Well, liven it up a little there. I can't help it. I'm doing the best I can do with what the material I got to work with there, buddy. Angela says, LOL, Amy. And April says, Amy. I love your humor. She is a funny gal. Funny, funny, funny. Hang on. Jody like a melody. She warms me and she keeps me in the dark every night before the day. My chat jumped. Hang on. 9:33. Thank you. Rich Ed says, I was mocking you, Melody. My apologies. John H. says, and it's not British war or America's war in Ukraine. Right. Amanda says, exactly, Nugget. It's Ukraine's war. They're the ones that have to clean that mess up and live there. Melody says, apology accepted, Rich. Angela says, yes, peace in the chat. Peace in the chat. Peace in the chat. Peace in the chat. Build the wall. No, I'm sorry. April says, oh my, Rich. LOL, I'm sticky. It's so muggy out. Literally, mosquitoes are biting. I gotta go inside. Well, go inside. What are you doing outside? You're an indoor cat. Go inside. Amanda says, here's a question. Why does the American president have to stop another country's war that math ain't mathin'? Yeah, my thought is, why don't we just close the doors, pull down the shades, and deal with what's in our country and stop worrying about what every other country's doing? I don't care. I didn't cause that problem. I don't want to clean it up. I also don't want to talk about it, just so you know. I will, because I run a podcast, and it's kind of my job. But I don't want to. There's other things I'm interested in besides war, hate, and a bunch of retards thinking they're smart. Rich says, I can't reply directly to you because of your accent. Agu? Your accent? Agu? What's wrong with my accent? I know I sound like I got marbles in my mouth, but you can understand what I'm saying. I'm very well spoken, articulate and such. I'm a, what's that word I'm looking for? Eloquacious, illiterated, autodidactic mouthpiece. April says, right, Amanda. Amy says, math needs to grow up and solve its own problems. Amen. Angela says, I'm with you, Amy. April says, I agree. Thumbs up. Number one. John says, the people need to stop all of this BS. I agree with that, 100%. Why can't we all just get along, in the words of the great late Rodney King? Fab Daddy says, Trump's Truth Social account stated that people are weak if they focus on Epstein. I bet it says more than that. let's see.
Keep going, the answer's further down.
Oh, I have a Truth Social account, but I don't remember what my username is. I guess that was it, because here it is. How do you get to their posts? Trump signs Hulk Fentanyl Act into law. Go Trump. This is not showing article pictures and videos, but not posts. I gotta figure out how to get to the posts.
Go ahead, I'll get it.
Okay, you get it in. Amanda will pull it up and tell you exactly what he said. Fab Daddy, I read that one. Oh, Fab Daddy says, sure, I did read that one. April says, John, I agree, love, heart. Angela says, they need to put Zelensky and Putin in a boxing ring and let them duke it out by themselves. That is a good call, I agree. Vera Lynn, hello, darling. She says, here is $9.99. Feed Jake, a.k.a. give a BJ, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. Hello, Vera. Thank you very much, darling. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. God bless you all, each and every one. Amanda says, no, he said the people having issues with the Epstein list are weaklings, that there are more important issues to deal with right now. Right. With the Epstein list, specifically, the evidence of a list, the thing that's most definitely fake. I would agree with that. And Amanda says, get it right, Fab Daddy. John says, all I care about is what counts. Family, friends, and everything else is bullshit. I agree, John. 100%. God, family, friends. Amy says, Putin would win, Angela. He probably would. That guy's like a serious outdoorsman and very built for his age. Also, the thing about him being an assassin for the KGB at one time might come into play. Angela says, I agree with that, John. Patty's here. She says, what's up, my friends? It's Patty. Hey, Patty. How are you, sweet lady? We're all just chilling and hanging out and enjoying the conversation of, peaceful, lovey-dovey conversation. April says, I'm here listening, trying to get in the house. BRB. Amanda says, hi, Patty. April says, hi, Patty. Rich says, John with a little H. My condolences that you reside in the biggest shithole in Western civilization. At least you have Jesus. Well, that's not very nice there, Rich. I don't think Europe is the biggest shithole. I think probably Kandahar is, or that place where all the pirates are. And don't be insulting my friends there, Rich. I won't let them insult you. Watch your mouth there, buddy. I think you're joking, but calm your little ass down. Amy says, I posted a few episodes of Everything Wrong with Genesis to Wimkin. I saw that. Thank you. I watched one of them myself today, the one that you posted this morning. How do you like that? Are you enjoying it? Do you get anything out of it? Do you think it's good? Melody says, I'm 12 years old. Thank you for answering me. Patty says, Miss Amanda and ladies. Amanda says, I saw that. Thanks, Amy. Linda Davis says, I don't do this political fighting stuff. As far as I'm concerned, I'm American. And if it doesn't benefit my country and its people, we have no reason to be there. I completely agree with that, Linda. And we're not fighting. We're just bickering. It's just bullshit. We're not seriously mad at each other or nothing like that. I don't think, anyway. I'm not. much like on a political night, which is the place for this conversation. We shouldn't be doing it on a Wednesday, but it is happening and people are wanting to talk about it, so I'll allow it. But the fighting is for the purposes of expanding knowledge for people that are listening, and it should not be taken personally, ever. It shouldn't. May the best idea win. And we have to kind of look at it this way tonight because we aren't prepared for this kind of conversation. But I agree with you. I think that if it involves America, we should focus on that. And we should pull out of everything abroad. We should stop trying to be the world's police, even though we have the largest military on planet Earth and that no one could beat us ever. I think we should get out of that game altogether and just focus on our borders. You have to cross an ocean both ways to get to us, so it's not like an easy thing to do. There's more guns in America than there are people. It's not like anybody's going to attack us. So, that's exactly what we should do. Focus on America proper and get out of the world business. I agree with that. Amy says, that explains a lot. Amanda says, exactly, Linda. And Melody says, do you really believe I am 12? Well, you said you were. I asked you an honest question. Did you not give me an honest answer? If you did not, then that's a mark against you because now I don't trust anything you say to me. You see how trust works? When I speak to you, you can believe what I'm saying because I believe it. If you were here under false pretenses and you want to say a bunch of nonsense, you can go play with your 12-year-old friends. Why would I believe you're 12? Because we have a lot of young people that come here and you are talking like a young person. That's why I would believe it. You sound like a 12-year-old, which is why I asked. Are you glad that you know now? Angela says, Melody, are you really 12 or 59? Or I'm 59. Amy says, hi, Patty. Amy says, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Total Recall voice. I hear you. That is exactly what's happening in this world. That's exactly what the world is that you see in front of you, is a big, fat, fake, red-headed lady lying to your face. And soon it will malfunction and the mask will come off and explode in your lap. And Vera says, no, this is John, 5 pounds. Bring peace to the world and have a cup of coffee. Amen. Patty says, Miss Amy Elizabeth. My voice is getting weak. Fab Daddy says, everything is bullshit. I am a 12-year-old girl, too. Rich S says, I hope not, Melody, because I'm kind of turned on by your tone. Oh, Lord. If she is, in fact, 12, I wouldn't be saying that. That would make you kind of Epstein-listy. You know what I'm saying? Amanda says, thanks, Nugget. Yes, thank you. Lady B says, amen, John. Melody says, I can't believe that you people believe that I am 12 years old. Why? You told us you were 12 years old. Why would you not believe that? I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I asked you a question in earnest. You answered it. So why would you have trouble believing that I would trust you? You see what the problem is with your thinking here? I bet you don't. I bet you don't see it. You're amazed that we believed you. We gave you trust. That's what Republicans do. We trust each other. We try to move forward with a positive attitude and trust that we're going to do the right thing or have the right thing happen. We're not expecting you to be a conniving liar. So if you are one, I would see why you would be surprised. I'm not. I preach that everything is bullshit, remember? April says, thanks, John Love, heart. And Melody says, Fab Daddy, cry face. And Amy says, then don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness, Melody. Yeah. April says, hi, lady. Good to see you. And Lady says, Fab Daddy, do we like him? I like him. He's a good friend of mine. As I said before, he gives me the cracking moment by saying something retarded that I can jump on and sink my teeth into. And that gives context and content for the show. And it's a valuable resource because a lot of times I've got nothing to say and he gives me something to say. So yeah, I like Fab Daddy. Rich S says, I can't wait to look in the mirror because I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. I sure am a heck of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. Right on, Rich. Lady B says, hey, sweetheart, April, I love you bunches. Smiley face with a hearty eyes and a kissy face. April says, I agree, Linda. Thumbs up. And Linda says, my family came here to be American from countries they could not accomplish what they were able to accomplish here. Everyone should be grateful and not disrespecting and fighting. Yep, it used to mean something to come to this country. Now we have immigrants that will come here and wave flags from other countries and protest in our faces. I'm thinking we shouldn't let those people in. Angela says, I can't believe anybody would lie about their age to the people of this group for any reason, especially just being facetious. Well, sometimes you got people that just don't know how to be adults. And that is the problem that we live in today. We have an entire generation of people with arrested development. They don't know how to be adults. They never learned how. They never grew up. They stuck at high school. And that's where they are mentally and emotionally. Maybe even less than that emotionally. And that's why you got people screaming at the top of their lungs out in the streets and burning buildings down and causing general chaos everywhere you look and doing stupid things like putting oil on priceless paintings and burning up Teslas and things like that. You got a general malaise of idiotic stupidity governing the world you live in. And it's all because we did away with mental institutions. We should have kept those things opened. April says, Lady B, love you too. Hearts and smiley faces. Angela says, Rich, my dad used to sing that song. It's a good song. April says, right on, Linda. And Rich says, Ange, she was being facetious. Remember, this is a chill stream. Chill means relax. It don't mean lie about who you are. Linda Davis says, I may not like Trump personally, but he was and has been better for my country than a lot of others. True. And again, where did this idea come from that you have to like the guy that's running the country? I don't care if he's a big asshole. I don't need to like him. I'm never going to meet him. I'm never going to have him at my dinner table. What I want is a staunch businessman that can run the country with ease and that everybody in the world respects. And I have that with Trump. I don't need to like him. Do I think he's an upstanding, nice guy? I think he's a billionaire or millionaire or whatever he is. And I think that he's earned it. I think that his personality is such that everybody in the world sees him as a showman, and that's what he does. That's what I do too, by the way. I'm just not as good at it as he is. A lot of people don't like me for the same reason. That's all right. April says, LOL, Rich, come on, man. Amy says, I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love, grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to buy the world a Coke and hope that they smile and then shut the fuck up. That's what I'd like. It ain't gonna happen though. To quote the great late Richard Pryor, have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. Amy says, I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company. That's the real thing, baby. I love it. That is the song you were singing. Lady B says, our USA, they used to be a melting pot in the 70s, has become a tossed salad, and I'm sick of it. I agree. Amy says, message retracted twice. I can't read it if you retract it. Lady B says, we got to permanently have tough borders. I agree. And Amanda says, definitely, Lady B. We have had 0 people come across the borders in 3 months. That's 0. Remember a few months ago when we had a border crisis and there was hundreds of thousands of people pouring over the border that we could not control or identify? None as of the last 3 months. 0. That's how you do it. Remember when they said it couldn't be done? Remember when Trump said, all Biden's got to do is close the border. He don't need Congress to act. Remember when Biden said, with what magic wand is he going to wave and just close the border and start creating jobs? It can't be done. It's a fairy tale. Remember that? Trump did it. And you dislike him because of what CNN says? Can you tell me one actual thing you actually dislike about Trump? I don't think you can. I mean, you personally, not something that's in a headline. You can't use headlines and you can't use talking points. Name one thing that you actually know about Donald Trump that you don't like. Be careful. It's a trap, a trick question. Because when you tell me, I'm going to tell you why that's wrong. Lady B says, hugs Amanda, heart. And Amanda says, Jake's pronouns are Big Daddy. You said it, not me. John says, my pronouns are everything's bullshit. My pronouns are, you're right. And Melody says, right is an adjective, not a pronoun. I didn't say right was a pronoun. I said that was my pronoun. You used she as a pronoun, so I can use right. Because I am, and you are. Follow the logic here. Patty says, smiley face with teeth. Lady B says, love it, Amanda. It's too late. In the 80s, thousands were coming across as a white country girl that my ancestors owned millions of acres of land. I am a minority. Unfortunately, that may be true. Fat Daddy says, just because you got the Wright brothers flight on your license plate doesn't make you right. True, but it does make me right. Right and right. Yep, you're absolutely right. Right. Angela says, right can also be a direction. Debbie says, I'm in the shadows. Hello, Debbie, in the shadows. How are you doing this lovely Wednesday evening? Amy says, since we're talking about Trump, he just changed the classification of fentanyl, and anyone convicted of dealing with it faces 20 to life. That's a good thing, but I don't hear the leftists talking about it. Of course not. They don't give him credit for anything he's done. He could cure cancer, and they would say, Trump forces medication on Americans or something like that. That's how they work. Angela says, hi, Debbie. Lady B says, are we supposed to like Fab Daddy? If you wish, it's up to you. You don't have to like him. I like him. Fab Daddy says, 3 lefties make it right. No, they don't. They make a U-turn. 4 lefties make a right. Angle, a right angle. Angles can be used to hold up things. So you build a table, place a mirror on that table and grab a 2x4, place it in front of the mirror, look in the mirror to see what you saw, take the saw, cut the board in half, 2 halves and make a hole, and you crawl out and become a conservative. That's my logic, folks, and I'm sticking to it. You heard it here on Untethered Live. I'm working on my radio voice when I can speak. Melody says yes, but not in the context he spoke about, Angela. Are you actually going to try to rifle with language with a guy that went to college for language? We can do that. It won't work well for you. Follow the logic. A pronoun is only a pronoun if you're not the thing that you're calling yourself. If you are the thing you're calling yourself, you're just right. Correct. It's a noun. It's a name. It's a title. It has a capital letter. And then I jokingly said, my pronouns are, you're right. I identify as the person who wins this argument. And I'd appreciate it if you'd respect my pronouns. Because you're misgendering me. Don't make me identify as an attack helicopter, because I will. Amanda says, LOL, lady. You can like anybody you like. Correct. Or dislike. Fab Daddy can take it. He's a big dude. Amy says, Lady B, he's still a part of this family. He is that. And we do take care of our own. Amanda says, yes, Amy, that's great. Fab Daddy says, do you like me, Lady B? You don't have to call me Fab. You don't have to call me Daddy. Fab works just fine. You don't have to call me Daddy. You never even call me by my name. Lady B says, gotcha, Amy. Welcome, Fry Daddy. Peace and love. Amy says, yeah, right. Lady says, nice to meet you, Fab. Gotcha. Vera says, hello. Hey, Rachel, how are you, sweet lady? Amanda says, hi, Rachel. Amy says, hi, Rachel. Melinda says, Fab. Count yourself lucky that you can dislike and voice your opinions about your president without any consequences. Try being grateful for the country you live in. I can love you and respect you, but... ... Sometimes you piss me off. You better watch out there, Fab Daddy. Fab Daddy says, very nice to meet you as well here on chat. John H. says, Amy... make sure you flush the BS down the pan. Smiley, smiley. Rachel says, seems like Daddy is in a mood. Hold on, my chat jumped. Man, it goes so fast. I'll find it in a second. I found it. Rachel says, seems like Fab Daddy is in a mood tonight and wants to be annoying. I think he's just pushing my buttons there. Melody says, she is a pronoun. Well, notice that you capitalized it. That makes it not a pronoun. That makes it a noun. Because that's how language works. If you are, in fact, a female, then it is a noun. It's only a pronoun if you're lying about it there. And you have proven yourself to be a liar McLiar, farty pants, Mick on fire butt. Sorry, I'm not good with those. Amanda says, right, Linda, me too. Amy says, Fab has been around for years. I've been listening to old Bible study episodes, and Fab was there way back then. He is part of the family. He is a fixture here, and I stand by him. I will tear him to shreds, but I stand by him. Fab Daddy says, I love you, Linda. Lady B says, gotcha, Rachel. Lady B says, thanks for the input, Amy. And Fab Daddy says, bring the boy back home, Vera. Bring the boys back home? What boys? What boys? What are we talking about? Melody says, I'm a freaking foreigner, yet I know more about your language than you do. You keep telling yourself that, honey. You go right ahead and believe all you want to. You just pack your little self into that Venn diagram of everything you think you know. And you just sleep well tonight. And I'll let you. And Lady B says, might need Freon. My air conditioner? Probably. Rachel says, I only like you, Daddy, because you know the song. Well, I like my Fab Daddy, and I'll stand by my man. He stands by me, so I'll stand by him back. But you're welcome to dislike him all you like. He is the heel in this environment. He put himself in that position, so have at it. Angela says, Melody, my name is Angela. Sounds like Angel, and sounds almost like Angel Eye. Angela, right. Rachel says, such a brilliant song. Nice. Melody says, language more than you do. Okay. Well, one of us is published. Which one do you think that is? One of us has a degree in language. Which one of you think that is? One of us has a job talking to people for a living. Which one of us do you think that is? Amanda says, technically, it's a third-person pronoun, she. If you're not truthful about it, yes. Go back and do your research, do your grammar. If you're telling the truth, if you're calling something what it is, what are you calling it? It's name. What is a name? A name is a noun, person, place, or thing. It's only a pronoun if you're describing something that is not the thing you're calling it. You dig? Lady B says, Melody, I am pleading the fifth. I would love to meet you in person. Angela says, what country are you from, Melody? Yes, what foreign land do you hail from? You called yourself a foreigner. I didn't, so. Lady B says, all of my ancestors from the 1800s flight for our farming land and freedom. Fought for our farming land and freedom. Right on. All of my ancestors from the 1800s were in a woodshed somewhere. My last name is Johnson, and I'm Native American, which means my family needs to learn to circle all the wagons or learn some sports real quick, one or the other. Amanda says, wow, Melody, you have no clue. It's funny when that happens, isn't it? Rachel says, is Melody Dana? Sounds like her. I don't know. Could be. I don't think so. I think she pretty much bailed, but whatever. She's definitely got that kind of look at me personality, huh? Melody says, Angela derives from the word angel. This is a very nice name. Well, thank you for the transliteration of the name Angela. I thought it derived from a Jeff Healey song. But what do I know? Amanda says, I don't know, Rachel. Could be. April says, hi, Rachel, lovely, smiley face. Amy says, message retracted. Rachel says, sounds just like her, _Lamau. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. How are you feeling today, by the way? I hadn't heard from you in a while. I've been worried about you. I've been thinking about you, young lady, with your fiery red head and your pretty eyes. How you feeling? Are you feeling loved? I hope so, because we love you. Amanda says, LOL, Amy, I'm watching too. Amy says, has anyone seen those AI videos of Bigfoot? It's hilarious. I have. The one where he's finding drugs in the forest and he's talking about, I just found this package of white stuff. I'm going to try it. Yeah. Those are pretty good. Angela says, nope, I haven't. But I saw the dogs and cats diving off of the diving board. Yeah, they're doing some wild stuff with AI these days. The title, they've actually put AI on trying to translate cat language. And they did this big study where they took a bunch of random videos of cats and audio, and then they fed it into AI to try to find some similarities and try to understand what they're actually saying. And they're like 98% close, 95% close to being able to communicate with cats. It's wild. Fab Daddy says some of them are hilarious. The Bigfoot videos, yeah. Melody says, what is pleading the fifth? For you foreigners, we have a thing called the Constitution, and the Fifth Amendment gives you the right to remain silent and protect yourself and not incriminate yourself. So when someone says, I plead the fifth, what they're really saying is, I'm not going to waste my breath telling you what I really think. That's pleading the fifth. Lady B says, typo, fought for our country and for our farmland. The women gave birth in the fields and kept on tending the land like a woman should. We fought war for hundreds of years. Step off, Melanie. God bless and be peaced. Wow. John H. says, I have a size shoe, Amy Bigfoot. Bigfoot. You know what I say about a guy's foot, right? Size of a guy's foot means he has big shoes. Amy says, the one where people talk Bigfoot into using Nair. I hadn't seen that one, but I've seen those videos. And Rachel hits me with the $9.99 and says, feed Jake, a.k.a. give a BJ. If you know, you know. Thank you, Vera. Rachel, thank you very much. John H. says, I have a size 13. That is a big foot. I got a size 10. Somebody asked me how tall I was the other day, and I said I'm 6'2" from the waist up. Lady B says, you should know. You said you knew our language more than we did. It's funny when people make statements like that and then reality slaps them in the face. That's hilarious. Or when they think they're smart and they're saying a thing and you're like 10 steps ahead of them, and then they realize it suddenly that they're not even close to keeping up with you in the conversation, that they're woefully underprepared. And when they realize it, you can see it on their face. It is quite hilarious. Linda says, yes, Amy, they are definitely hilarious. And Amy says, thanks, Rachel, LOL. April says, Rachel, thanks, love. Heart. Lady B says, I was 4 years old. Put a TR. I don't know what that means. Amy says, movie quote, I speak English and bad English. I speak English and bad English. Oh. Is that Adam Sandler movie? For some reason I see Rudd Paul saying that. Rudd Nelson, whatever his name is. The guy that don't age. You know what I'm talking about. Ant-Man. Judd Nelson. Is that his name? Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd. That's the guy. I had to pull that one up. Rachel says, good night, peace. Well, don't leave so soon, honey. We just got here. We love you. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for being here tonight. I hope you feel better. Angela says, Melody, pleading the fifth means you aren't going to answer one way or the other. Pleading the fifth means you are using your right to stay silent so you don't incriminate yourself. Get that. Which we have rights in this country. Which is why it amazes me that so many people shit on this country when there's literally no place better. There's not one place you can go to in the world with more rights afforded to you than here. And yet, we have dissenters everywhere. And it's because they don't have any education. Amanda says, good night, Rachel. Amy says, if I knew I was being graded for my grammar... Oh, I'm always grading people for their grammar because I'm a grammar Nazi, apparently. April says, good night, Rachel, love. Fab Daddy says, message retracted. I can't read it if you retract it. April says, Patty, much love, peace. Or heart, rather. There's a heart, not peace. And John says, the biggest thing is putting food on the table and paying my bills. Facts. Facts. None of this other stuff matters. It's just conversation. That's all. Lady says, 4 years old and putting an old farming truck and Granny pick up potatoes for hours in the field after we tilled them up. I know what hard work is. My ancestors also. Right on. I know what hard work is. I was a roofer when I was 11 years old. Angela says, good night, heart. Good night, Angela. Thank you for being here, love. I ain't far behind you. It's 10:35. April says, good night, Angela, love. Amy says, some people I've seen on videos have the right to remain silent, but lack the ability. I'm one of them. Linda says, good night, Angela. Melody says, Putin was a lawyer in the KGB department, not an assassin. Well, that shows how much you know. You just believe whatever you want to. I don't think you understand what the KGB is or what they did. John H. says, Jake, I can take it. Jake, I'm a big boy. I hear you, John. I know you are. But as long as you're here, you're under my protection. Period. Because you're one of mine. And I don't like that shit. I think we're talking about the same thing, but I'm not sure. Amy says, I'm enjoying the videos, Jake. Excellent. If you have any criticism or thoughts, please let me know. I'm interested. I'm interested to know what you think about those, having been with me for so long and just now discovering them. Maybe that adds an element or a layer to what you see that you didn't know about. You know, maybe it gives you a new perspective on old Jake. So I'm interested to hear what you think. Anytime you want to tell me. Lady B says, hey, sweetheart, April. Heart. Angela says, I'm not leaving, Linda. I was saying good night to Rachel. Okay, sorry. It said good night, heart, so I just assumed. My bad. Amy says, night, Angela. Linda says, oh, okay, Angela. April says, aye. Thumbs up. Hearts. Aye. 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 Amy says, oops, never mind, Angel. Lady B says, hey, Linda, heart, heart. Angela says, Putin is in better shape than Zelensky is. And he's like twice his age. And yeah, that's a typical behavior for a lawyer. Melody says, thank you for the information, Angela Ashkins. Now I'll remember what pleading the fifth is. Linda says, hi, Lady B. Hi, Lady B. Angela says, LOL, Amy Hart. Angela says, Melody, you are very welcome. Lady B says, Lamau, Jake, under 12. could go either way. April says, well, why does she have to be a fat, red-headed lady? Have you seen Total Recall? Because she is. I didn't make the movie. I'm just repeating the reference. What are you asking? That comment was directly related to a movie quote. The person was a big fat red-headed lady that blows up in your lap. Total Recall. Watch it. It's a great movie. Angela says, I catch hate all day on TikTok. I come here for peace and love. Right on. Well, you have peace and love from me. Amy says, April, it's part of a movie. Right. And Amanda says, well, I'm in 2 weeks ago on Trump's Truth and Nothing About Being Weak. So you've gone back 2 weeks and have found no statement on Truth Social about people being weak over Epstein. It's almost like you got faulty information and your coffee cup is empty, Fab Daddy. If only you had a full coffee cup, we could have this conversation more thoroughly. April says, LOL. Lady B says, April. Smiley, smiley. April says, duh, I haven't seen it. Well, you need to. Lady B says, Jake, I'm dying over here. Me too, oddly enough. Lady B says, smiley, smiley, smiley. April says, aha, smiley, smiley. Lady B says, grace, grace, and more grace. Lots of grace. Lady B says, I could eat Choco Taco at the Creamery. Nice. That sounds good, actually. I have been there once, a place called the Creamery. If it's the same place you're talking about, great food. Melody says, you ask me if I am 12 and I answer 12. I have a good sense of humor. Okay. Does that sound like a joke? Did you think I was joking? Do you think it's funny to lie to people or mislead them when they ask you legitimate questions? When they don't know you personally? Is that how you think relationships work? Do you think it benefits anyone to hear a false number when asked, how old are you? I'm not sure I'm following your logic. Maybe you can explain to me how having a good sense of humor gives you the levity to tell somebody a lie and then call them on it as if they did something wrong. I also have a great sense of humor. I am a comedian, or I play one on TV. Anyway, Lady B says, at least we are not talking about pickles. Some pickles need to be spoken about. Look at that. I have a full cup of coffee, Fab Daddy. You see how that works? Just read for yourself, Truth Social, and then you'll know. April says, Coco Taco? Choco Taco? Choco Taco? I think it's a chocolate taco. I'm not sure. Lady B says, yeah, April, at the Creamery. At the Stone Creamery. Okay, that's not the same place I ate at. The place I ate at was in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and it was a little bistro-type place right there in a college town. And I think it was called the Creamery, or it might have been called something else, some kind of house. Cream, what's that pie? That's cream cheese? Cheesecake Factory, that's what it was called. Not Creamery, Cheesecake Factory. Sorry, my bad. Rich S says, Melody, your picture reminds me of Angela Lansbury. Murder, She Wrote, for real? I loved Angela Lansbury. And Magnum P.I. for that matter. And Sherlock Holmes. I've read them all. Amanda says, LOL, Lady B. And Debbie and I talk about them all the time. Those pickles. Dastardly they are. John H. says, Britain have made in law for all these Palestinian protests are against British law. That's awesome, John. I hope that they stick. I hope that they'll get rid of all that nonsense. That's really bringing the property value down in London. I hope that they get a handle on that. April says, is it chocolate? A Choco Taco? Well, it has Choco in the name, so I'm guessing probably. Or it has chocolate in it. Rich says, April Rain, heck yeah. You gotta find yourself one. You got to find yourself another piece of the action. You're crazy. Oh, yeah. Lady B says, really? I don't crave pickles as bad. It was a problem. Pickles and more pickles. Wow. Well, the pickles that we're talking about are not pickles. They're the allegory of a pickle. You know. Kind of thing. But, you know, pickles. Lady B says, Choco. Chocolate. Right. April says, sounds delicious, Rich. Amanda says, I saw a video on chocolate-covered pickles today. Don't be racist. Angela says, great carnival agents are called showmen. So are people that do what I do. Rich says, shut the front door. Cheese and crackers. Lady B says, Google Stone Creamery, expensive ice cream place. They have B-Day cakes. Cool. I will check it out. If they got one around, I'll go check it out because I like ice cream. Melody says, Rich S., I don't know who Angela Lansbury is. All right. Angela Lansbury is a national treasure. She was a detective back in the 80s. She solved many murders. Very smart author lady. She wrote books about the crimes that she solved. And we all love her very much. She would hang out with Barnaby Jones, and they would go solve crimes with Matlock. And it was quite nice. Lady B says, chocolate-covered pickles? Are you serious? Chocolate-covered pickles. Rich S says, Google her and find the resemblance. Yeah, Google Angela Lansbury and then look at Lady B's picture and you'll see. April says, LOL, Jake, a Coke, ha ha ha, and a smile. Cheers. Angela says, Melody, she was a famous actress in the USA. Murder, She Wrote, says Amy. And Rich says what she said. Angela Lansbury was a Murder, She Wrote, says Angela. Was in Murder, She Wrote. Lady B says, I identify as somebody who does not take lightly talking about our country from folks who hasn't been here in less than 100 years. Oh. Yeah, well, you know, people talk. They don't mean anything. Melody says, Rich S., I Googled it and I say, what? No, you Google the picture, look at her, and then look at Lady B's picture, and you'll see that he was drawing a comparison between the two. They look alike. English, do you speak it? Angela says, LOL, great minds think alike. Yes, they do. Amy says, I identify as a meat popsicle of Fifth Element. Bam! Who you messing with, Amy? Fifth Element, right off the top. Rich S says photo resemblance. Lady B says ancestors related. Maybe. Linda says, Rich, I love that show, but I always said, why the heck would anyone go on vacation where she is? Someone always ends up dead, right? Yeah, that woman was like drug a line of bodies behind her. There was even a conspiracy theory going on. I read somewhere that she was actually a murderer because everywhere she went, people were dying, and then she would come in and solve the crime, making her a hero. So she was actually killing them first and then solving the crime. Conspiracy? I think not. Amanda says, yes, Lady B. Rich says, yeah, Lady. Yes, Linda Davis. Doesn't make much sense, right? Lady B says, Amanda, heart. Angela says, my pronouns are Miss Queen Trash. Woman after my own heart there. I am trailer trash myself. I was born just plain white trash. And I got bigger. Whew. Lady B says, Rich, heart. April says, Angela, facts. Kevin says, hello, everyone. Finally, I made it. What's up, buddy? And Fab Daddy says, Amanda, it was on 7/16/25, 6:43 a.m. Post on True Social. Now that is presenting evidence. Thank you, Fab Daddy. That's how you do it. When you say a thing, have something to back it up. That way everybody can look and you're not just running your mouth. You have evidence. That is how you do it. Congratulations. Now let's go look at it and see what he actually said. Amy says, my pronouns are the, she, and it. I am the shit. What?
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat. Okay. Me, she, and it. Or the, she, and it. I am the shit. The, she, it. The shit. Got it. Rich S says, Kev. Kevin says, hello, Rich. April says, Kevin, welcome back, love, heart. Fab Daddy says, I will send it via messenger. Lady B says, be right back. I'm getting water. Get that water. Show that water who's boss. Rich says, Amos. Amos? Ames? Ames. Short for Amy. Got it. Kevin says, hello, April. Angela says, you are definitely amazing as a person, Amy. Heart. Yes, she is. And don't you ever forget it. She is Amy Elizabeth, my favorite person in the world. Lady B says, hey, Kevin, here. Rich says, how about me? Am I amazing too? Yeah. Kevin says, hello, Lady B. Amy says, Kevin. Angela says, are you on TikTok? Me? No. No, I don't do Chinese propaganda. I probably should be, though. I'd probably make more money over there. My problem is I can't figure out anything funny in 30 seconds. I don't know what to say in a short video. I don't know how to make short videos. I've tried. They end up 30 minutes long. I don't have any short, quippy, wisdomy things to say just off the top of my head. They have to come from conversation. You say something, and then I say something clever. That's how it works. If I could figure out how to chop that up and make little clips out of it, then I'd go on TikTok. And I'd have short videos here. But I ain't got that far yet. Pardon me. Don't blow your nose on camera, Jake. It's ugly. Sorry. Sometimes you just gotta blow. I hadn't peed yet. It's coming. Rich S says, anyone? Anyone? Yes, Rich, you are amazing. Lady B says, let's call Kevin Saint. Why? Saint Kevin? I mean, I'm all for it, but why? April says, everyone here is amazing. Hugs and love, heart. John says, we all love each other. We may have different opinions, but that's family, heart. And amen, John. Thank you. That is correct. You don't have to agree with me. You just have to talk to me. That's all. Linda Davis says, Rich, you are amazing. See, I told you. Lady B says, yes, John. April says, amen, John. Prayers, hearts. Rich says, bro, I just realized John with the little H is nugget. I'm sorry for the insulting the UK, John. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. That kind of angered me a little bit because that happened the other day, and I had to get on somebody's ass about it. John is my friend, and he super chatted way more than anybody else around here has, so you don't talk shit to him. That's how I was talking to the other guy. But thank you for the apology. Rich S. says, thanks, Linda Davis. And Rich says, so are you. I try. I mean, I own the camera, so yes, I'm amazing, but it's because I made it that way. Linda says, hey, Kevin, I'm glad you made it through the floods that hit New Jersey. My voice will come back. I'm going to make it. If I got to rip my own lungs out, I'm going to make it work. John H. says, Rich, that's your opinion, and that's your right to still love us, bro. Thank you, John, for being graceful. And that's why I protect him, because he's so graceful. And just when I thought I was at the bottom, my chat jumped again. Ten 10:21. Ah, okay. April says, nope, I don't have TikTok. Amanda says, fake news and the success-starved Dems is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forwards to do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. All right, that's what Donald Trump actually said. Notice who he's talking to. I'll go back. Fake news and the success-starved Dems. That's the title. Everything under that line is to that line. You see, that's how English works. The fake news and success-starved Dems who don't do anything successfully and generate fake news is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. They are the hoax. They are causing the hoax. They wrote the hoax. It's a hoax. Let these weaklings, meaning the Dems, continue forward and do Democrat work, because that's what they do. I don't even think about talking about our incredible success and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore, meaning the other side of the aisle. I don't want the Democrats' support anymore. I'm going to do it myself. That's what he's saying. He's not calling MAGA weak. The word MAGA isn't even in there. Thank you, MAGA, for the attention on this matter. You understand? You got it wrong, Fab Daddy, and you should recognize that. And then you'll begin to understand what I've been talking about all this time. Rich says England is a mess, though, according to Piers Morgan. Well, you can't believe that guy. He's full of nonsense. And Sky News. I like the girl with the twitchy mouth. You know the one. Lefties losing it. Or however she talks. She's got a weird mouth. I like it. But no, England is a mess because mostly the Palestinian thing and the Muslims coming in droves because of weak leadership. But that says nothing about the people of England, like John, who is an upstanding good man. Amanda says, now, come on, Fab. You sent this and read the context. Please tell me you can understand and read English. Yeah, Fab Daddy. Tell me you can understand. You see why I say he's a double agent? Why he's working to give me content? Because anybody that read that knew exactly who that was directed to. Nobody thought that was MAGA. I gotta go. My voice is starting to crack bad. April says, well, y'all, I'm gonna say good night. Little man is still up. Much love to you all. God bless us all. See you on the next one. Hugs. April. God bless you, sweet lady. Thank you for being here. We love you. I'm glad to hear you're getting back up on your feet and moving forward. Come see us Friday. I'm going to take tomorrow off since I did Tuesday this week. And Melody says, unbelievable. What's unbelievable? Add context to your statement. I don't know what you're saying is unbelievable. John says, Rich, it's the politicians are a mess under this government in Britain. Right. Fab Daddy says, sounds like he don't care about PDFs. No, it doesn't. It sounds like you don't care about Democrats because they are making nonsense out of what's actually true. And if you understood that, you would know that what they're pushing for to be released is a hoax that they invented to go against the people in power right now. The actual crimes, you're never going to hear about them. You understand that? No one will ever release that information. No matter how good they are, they cannot. The whole world will turn against them if they try. That's how it works when evil runs the show. Rich says, my little man is up too, April. We'll pat him on the head and put him back to bed. Unbelievable, Amy Elizabeth says, is a movie quote. Ah, don't you mean inconceivable? Inconceivable. I don't know who said unbelievable. Linda Davis says, good night, April, heart. April says, LOL, Rich, smiley faces. And good night, Linda, lovely, smiley face and heart. Amanda says, good night, April. Rich S says, cheers, love ya. John says, good night, April, darling. Heart, heart. Amy says, it has stopped raining, but the barometric pressure makes my bones hurt. I know that's right. I know that's right. Fab Daddy says, good night, everyone. 2 and 5. Ah, bail when you get called wrong, huh? Well, I love you, buddy. Take it easy and have a good night. See you next time. Angela says, what is unbelievable, Melody? Linda says, damn, Rich. What a waste. Go do something with that. Bad baby, bad baby, bad baby. Rich says, barometric? Yeah, barometric pressure. It's the pressure that the humidity causes in the world. Yeah, I have that. I suffer from that too, Amy. My shoulder was killing me when I laid down this evening because of the weather. And Linda says, good night, Fab. Heart, heart. April says, nighty night, Rich. Cheers. Hugs and a whole lot of love to you. Pat, 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 pat. Bow, chicka, wow, wow. Amanda says, good night, Fab. Run while you can. Rich says, that would be 3 times today. Oh, easy, boy. Give yourself a stroke. I mean, a heart attack. Stroke. Rich says, ugh. Amy says, you know what I mean, Rich. Way to write something that you can add any kind of context to. You know what I meant, Rich, or you know what I meant, Rich. Amy says, darn autocorrect. Right on. Rich says, mm-hmm. April says, aha. Angela says, good night, Rich. John says, good night, everyone, from the wonderful land, Britain. Everyone, Rich, much love. John, God bless you, sir. Thank you for the super chats. I love you. Have a good night, and stay strong with that Union Jack flag. Melody says, Angela, that he says the she is not a pronoun. This is unbelievable. Woman is a noun and she is a pronoun. Yeah, the word she is a pronoun. When you apply that word to yourself, it's also a pronoun if you're not a she. If you are a she, it's a noun because it's capitalized. That's a name, person, place, or thing. That's what a noun is. Do you not understand how things work? This is called spatial reasoning, which I understand women aren't that good at, but try and bear with me here. Spatial reasoning. Move the name from a pronoun into a name, which makes it a noun. Woman also is a noun unless you're not a woman, and then it's a pronoun. That's how all words work. Rich S says, cheers, John. April says, love you too, Jake. Hugs. I was wondering when I was going to come into the picture there. I love you too, baby. Thank you for being here. Heart back at you and prayers. Rich says, je ne sais pas sur quoi nos besoin de cause, de angelis et de grammaire que soit, ha. Que soit, ha. Merde. Amanda says, night nugget. Amy says, night nugget. Linda says, melody. The English language is difficult for non-speakers. She can be both a noun as well as a pronoun. Thank you. Melody says, we have also Constitution. Do you now? Who is we? Where are you from, Melody? Are you French? I might not believe you when you tell me because you've already lied to me once that I'm aware of. But shoot. Amy says, not our Constitution. Right, you don't have the Constitution. You might have a Constitution, but it's not the. Like the Magna Carta, you don't have that either, I'm sure. Amy says, America's the best country in the world. Amen. Melody says, he, she, it, singular, we, they, them, plural. I know how words work. You don't have to describe it to me. I speak English as a first language. Basic grammatical rules. Those are not grammatical rules. Those are statements based on grammar. Grammatical rules is how you use those words, one of which I described to you earlier, which you seem to fail to realize. Amy says, the fifth element. I speak English and bad English. Really? Well, I got one from there. I guess I just didn't get that one. Bruce Willis. Right. Angela says, Melody, in the sentence, was it he or she? He and she are both nouns, not pronouns. If you are saying it is a she cat, then she is also a noun. Right. Thank you, Angela. Rich says, Amy will never plead the fifth. She don't have to. She says it like it is. Amy says, I made myself a bacon and eggs and cheese for dinner tonight. Oh, that sounds good. I had a ham sandwich for dinner tonight with Funyuns, and it was delicious. Ham and turkey. Bacon and eggs and cheese. Please, please, please. Angela says, Melody, there are instances in the American English language where pronouns become the noun in a sentence. That is basic sentence structure. Right. And John says, and Rich Piers Morgan is the biggest leftist, two-faced person in Britain. 1 minute he's left, then right, then back to left. Right. He is a creature of habit. He goes whichever way the wind blows. If the left is on top, then he's a lefty. If the right is on top, then he's a righty. A lot of those guys on the TV do that, like John Oliver. I remember when he was very Republican. Then he picked a lane, and that happens. And, yeah. I wouldn't take anything according to Piers Morgan. You watch him for entertainment only. That's not a guy you get your news from. Rich says he has quite an audience and following. Yes, because he is fun to watch, not because you believe anything he says. Melody says, Angela Ashkins, I am a foreigner, arguing with you about the language in which you speak. I realize that it makes me sound like a giant shithead, but honestly, I know what I'm talking about because I invented English, and I know that every nook and cranny of how that language works because it's my first language. Because secretly, I'm from America, you see. Oh, no, you didn't say that. You said Melody said, Angela Ashkins, I understand what you mean, but pronoun replaces the noun if you don't need to say woman or man, both nouns. Stop it. You're making yourself look silly now. Angela says, Melody, Merriam-Webster begs to differ. I just researched it. And you'll figure this out if you ever stick around long enough, if you can handle the heat. Jake, this guy, knows a thing or two. And when you realize that I'm right more than I'm not, you'll stop questioning me. Until then, though, enjoy. Rich says Miriam is a nitwit. She has no idea what she's talking about. Melody says, try to Google what is a pronoun. Yeah, because Google is the be-all, end-all of what's correct, right? I knew you were 12. Amy says, Google, right? You know, the place that used to have do no evil on their wall and then they removed it because they began to do evil. Angela says, Melody, I gave you the instance when she or he is used as a noun. Walter Davis says, good evening, all. What's up, Walter? Nice to see you, brother. Amy says, hi, Walter. Linda says, hi, Walter. Amanda says, hi, Walter. Amy says, my body aches. I've already taken the maximum amount of Tylenol recommended. Yeah, I did that like 20 years ago, and I'm still just packing it in. Just do it. Your liver might explode, but it might not. I eat like 4 goodies a day, every day. 4 goodies and a bunch of Zen. Walter says, hi, Jake, Angela, Amy, Melody, Rich, John, Linda, April, Amanda, Lady B, and Kevin, says Amy. Amy says, Kevin is probably just listening. Walter, oh, that's why you didn't see him. Walter says, Amy, figure out why. Take magnesium, salt, other essential minerals, see if it goes away. Yeah, I understand that barometric pressure ache. I have it all the time, too. And that's what happens when you have a lot of scar tissue and stressed joints from doing hard labor all your life. Yeah. I basically have that injury that sports players get from throwing balls too hard, like the ripped out rotator cuff thing on both shoulders. I just keep going, though. Never mind the mule, just load the wagon. Amy says, and Debbie. Don't forget Debbie, which hasn't said much lately. How are you doing, Debbie? Are you still with us? Amy says, Debbie and Kevin disappeared together. They might be sitting in a tree somewhere. And if they are, you know what they're guilty of, don't you? Walter says, hi, Kevin, if you're listening. Melody says, Angela Ashkins, the English grammatical rules deal with 9 grammatical features of each word. And here they are, because clearly she hasn't got the message yet. What was that you said earlier? Unbelievable? Yeah, unbelievable. Melody says nouns, adjectives, pronouns, and numerals, verbs, adverbials, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Yeah. What's your point? That does not make what I said any less valid, and that does not make what you said any less wrong. John says, Angela Lansbury was British rich facts. She was that. Amanda says, how are you going to be from another country and try to tell Americans about their language? I'm just saying. Amy says, and a partridge in a pear tree. Walter says, hanging out with my uncle tonight. Told me a story of getting spooky close with a really big hammerhead shark. Took a year to rehab his shoulder. Wow. I don't have any desire to be close to a hammerhead shark. I have one in the other room there, and it's as close as I want to get. Amy says, Walter, the best way to not get bit by a shark is to stay out of the water. Yes, to know that you have feet and no gills, and that everything in the ocean wants to eat you. Stay away from it. Amy says, after the movie Jaws, nope. Yeah, I stayed out of the water after that too. That learned me. I have got no desire to be in the ocean. Walter says he was a diver in the Navy. Amy says, thank him for his service. Amen. Please, for me, I just pushed enter too fast. Thank you. Walter says, I ain't white trash, but I ain't first class. I'm wild and a little crazy, too. Some girls don't like boys like me. Oh, but some girls do. Good song, Walter. John says, Angela Lansbury, I meant, was a British actor. Yes. Rich says, sorry. Amy says, I read Typo E's Nugget. I read Typo E's Nugget. Angela says, Melody, if I ask the question, is that he or she? Both he and she are nouns, not pronouns. If I say that lady, she ran into the store, then she is a pronoun. Right. Which is what I said so many years ago. Melody says, Amanda, I will be listening to you with grace. If you told me about grammatical rules in my French native language, and I will appreciate your knowledge. I mean it. Why don't you appreciate everyone else's? Because everyone else is giving you knowledge that you are rejecting. So your facetiousness aside, I don't buy it. Amy says, my dad was in the Navy for 29 years in the engine room, mostly on destroyers, 10 years active duty, 19 years reserve. Well, God bless him and thank him for his service. Sorry, my chat jumped again. I may never get to the bottom. Angela says, John, yes. She was from Britain, an actress here in the U.S. Amy says, Angel, she was an actress in both countries. She was talented. Amen. Amanda says, that's good, Melody, but we speak different here, and our words have lots of meanings. Right. Walter says, where are you, Kevin? Amy says, love y'all. See you next time. Amy, I love you, sweetheart. God bless you, and thank you for being here. You're wonderful. Linda says, he is in Matawan. Lady B says, Walter, thank you for your kindness. I am just now able to type. Amy says, Amanda, we could start typing in redneck, LOL. That would be good. I'd love to see it. Fantastic. Let them talk about those words. Angela says, Melody, You refuse to admit you are half wrong because she and he can both be used as a noun. Read the rules from Merriam-Webster. I would never try to tell you about your language. It's not my language. Amanda says, that part, Amy, that part. Rich says something else in French. John says, good night, Amy. Have a wonderful sleep. And everyone, I'm going now. John, God bless you, sir. Thank you for being here. I think I said that already. Amy says, Rich, are you having a stroke? Rich says, ha. Amanda says, night nugget again. Angela says, Melody, you should probably do the same. You can't tell people all the rules of their own language and act like so smug as if you're right. It's rude and self-righteous and unbecoming of a lady, which you clearly are. Please like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chat in the chat box, or hit that Cash App $ Jake Johnson Band if you wish. I appreciate you very much. I love each and every one of you. And Amanda says, Rita from Sky News. Yeah, I like her. She has a face that looks like a possum. I love it. Or something. She looks like something. A very unusual face. She has those kind of lips. You know what I'm saying? Walter says, Trump administration got the Epstein list from the Biden administration. It is real or a hoax? Question mark. I think a hoax. How about Russia collusion or anything else? Yeah, I don't know why we would believe something that came from the administration that's been lying to us for the last 16 years. But there it is. If you really think about it, go back and look. That's where it came from. Debbie says the weaklings are the liars that make stuff up to stay relevant. Right on, Debbie. How are you, Deb? Walter says Matawan isn't far from Tom's River. Patty says, good night, all. I enjoy this chat. Thank you, Miss Amanda and Jake. Patty, I love you, sweetie. Thank you. God bless you. Have a good night, lady. Amanda says Russia collusion is a hoax. Why not the Epstein list? And Amanda says, good night, Patty. Angela says, yes, Rich. Nouns in French have both male and female genders attached to them. So do some Spanish words. Yeah, the Latin language is like that. Anything that derived from Latin is gendered in their language. They have female words and male words, or masculine and feminine words. Amanda says, yes, Debbie. Walter says, good night, Patty. And Linda says, good night, Patty. Lady B says, good night, Walter. Angela says, French like Spanish. I can understand more reading it better than hearing it. Me too. Walter says, good night, Patty and Fab. Whatever that N is. Lady B says, can't hear the chat. You're not supposed to hear the chat. Amanda says, oh no, lady, refresh. Yeah, you got to hit that refresh button if you can't hear the chat. Turn it up. And Linda Davis says, Walter, Patty, Wesley is Patty. Lady B says, still can't hear. That's not good. Is that better? Amanda says, did you accidentally mute or turn your volume down? Probably. Check those buttons on the side of your phone. Angela says, pronouns when used as a third person, singular. Noun when used as a first person. Right on. Lady B says, I went from 53 watching to 11. I can't hear anything. That's not good. Amanda says, go all the way out, lady, then come back in. That might happen. If you go out and then come back in, it might refresh. Linda says, I made wings tonight, and they were good. Ooh, that sounds delicious. I love hot wings. Me, some big old pan of wings and a big bottle of hot sauce, and I'm happy. Good eating right there. We're going to have wings. Lady B says, okay. And Amanda says, sorry you can't hear. Walter says, I got to get some sleep. Good night, all. Thanks, Jake and Walter. Thank you for being here, brother. I do, too. I got to work tomorrow also. Debbie says, I know why you had sandwiches for dinner. Wink, wink. Because they were delicious. And, you know, sometimes you don't want to cook a big meal. I had pork chops last night. Amanda says, good night, Walter. Kevin says, having trouble staying awake tonight. Good night, everyone. Sorry, Kevin. Get you some sleep, buddy. Drink more coffee. Linda says, good night, Walter. Lady B says, my do not disturb went on. Forget about it. Ah. Good that you solved that mystery. Amanda says, good night, Kevin. Angela says, okay, Amy, thank you. I thought she only acted in the U.S. Oh, no, most of those people are theater kids, and they do all the circuit over there. There's a big theater circuit in London. So they go over there, and then they come over here, and there's some stuff up in Canada that they do. Yeah, them people, they get around. Linda says, good night, Kevin. Lady B says, good night, Kevin. Lady B says, I am usually asleep, but Jake is too interesting. Thank you. Thank you very much. You love me. You really love me. My voice is about to crap out, though. Amanda says, LOL, lady. Lady B says, Amanda, heart, heart, heart. What? What?
You're about there.
Okay. Thank you. Amanda says, you should try living with him. It's nuts, always. Yeah, this does not ever turn off, even when I'm asleep. It's always here. So, count your blessings that you only have to put up with me for an hour. Or 6, whatever we get up to. And Lady B says, Jake, why do you hurt so bad? Oh, long story. I was born with Sprengle's scoliosis. You can look that up. It's a very rare thing. Quasimodo basically had the same disease. I was a hunchback. But when I was 6 years old, I had a surgery that 5 doctors flew from all over the world to do for free. They put my picture in all the books because there's so few cases that they wanted to experiment. So they experimented, and they did a new thing. The success rate was I would not live to be 16, but if I had the surgery, I might make it to 25, but I'd be in a lot less pain because my body was trying to twist itself into pieces. So we had the surgery, and I survived. And being the 70s, I never went back. Then I grew up in a hard world, construction and fighting and, you know, being a man and all that stuff. And I've just had a rough life. And so I suffer for it. That's all. That's it. End of story. But thank you for asking. But it's fine. Everybody has problems. Mine just happened to be pointed to everything I want to do. There's something there to cause a problem. Like, I'm a guitar player and my hands go numb all the time. Fun. So I had to learn how to have a personality, and then my voice goes away. Fun. Linda Davis says, I take 4 Tylenol at a time, Amy. Me too, if I'm going to take one. I usually take 2 goody powders at a time, and the box says don't do that, but they don't work if you don't take 2 of them. For me, anyway. Amanda says, lady, he was born with Sprengel's, Sprengles, scoliosis, and had a major surgery when he was 6, and wrecked his motorcycle a couple of years back. Oh, yeah, I wrecked my motorcycle, too. I hit the ground like a whip. Pow. Real bad whiplash. Lady B says, I had a full knee replacement, and the barometric pressure kills my left knee and the scar tissue around the titanium knee. I bet. Yeah. That's basically the weather dictates how I feel. Amanda says, and he's always done hard labor, stucco and roofing and pipe fitting and all his life, plus standing on stage for hours, 4 or 5 nights a week. Yeah, all that good stuff. Lifting big, heavy speakers. And, you know, I've just worn myself out. There just ain't nothing left. I'm just a husk of what I used to be. And Debbie says, yeah, I'm here and Kevin is going to bed without me and in another state. Well, that's terrible. Y'all need to get that fixed so you could go to bed together, separately or together. Rich says, how come when British people sing, there's no accent? Phonies. They just use it to sound sexy. No, it's because when you sing, you change vowels by the nature of the thing you're doing, which is singing. Your vowels are different, so you don't hear the accent because everybody sings the same way. But I beg to differ with you. Listen to some Rolling Stones and you'll hear that there absolutely is accents in singing. Or listen to Ledbetter, Pearl Jam. Listen to AC/DC. Yes, they have accents. Some don't, because they're singing the same way we sing. Amanda says, I think he just called me a hammerhead shark. I did. You are my hammerhead shark. Kind of look like one, too. I'm sleeping on the couch. Linda says, LOL, Rich. Lady says, ditto. A lady pulled out in front of me years ago, and she was texting and ran a stop sign. MS must have been dormant. Rick triggered it. The neurologist stopped counting over 68 lesions in my brain. Wow, you have MS. I did not know that. Yeah, there are some interesting studies about MS, things I read years ago about metals in your. Do you have fillings in your teeth by chance? Or ever did? Something I read many years ago. Amanda says, wow, lady, I'm glad you survived. Me too. The lady says she was texting and ran a stop sign, plowed all over on my motorcycle. Oh, you were on a motorcycle. Wow. Well, I wrecked once in my entire life. I've been riding all my life. I've only wrecked once, but I've always maintained it's not if, it's when. When you get on that bike, you're going to wreck eventually. The one time that I wrecked, I was the only person involved. It just rained, and I was on a blacktop that is in pitch black. It was the middle of the night. I just left band practice, and it was foggy, and the road had a really sharp curve in it, and I didn't see it. And I rode right off the road into the ditch, flipped my bike, and landed on my face out in the field on dirt, going about 40 miles an hour. So it was bad. I was basically unable to move for a month. The only thing I could move was my little thumb here. And I just had waves of lightning running down both arms, both legs, every time my heart beat. It was very intense, very painful. It was all I could do to survive it. Just, gritting my teeth and getting through it. No painkillers. And after that, I got better, but the damage was done. I have severe nerve damage in my hands. My neck feels like it's in the wrong place. Kind of looks like it is, too, if you'll notice. My shoulders are a little bit wonky. Anyway. Thank God I didn't die. Lady B says, thank you, Amanda. I am a child of God, for sure. Amen. Me too. And Amanda says, definitely, Lady B. Rich says, and how come people come here from all over the world to be on America's Got Talent? Because America's awesome, Rich. That's why. Don't they have talent shows in Korea or Zimbabwe? I mean, like, come on. Yes, they do. And they have them on TV too, but some people come here. Here's, Rich S says, oh, shut up, Stream Elements. We know already. Rich, are you being mean on purpose? Amanda says the other Facebook page is right here. It's Untethered Live chilling. Don't listen to Stream Elements. He's wrong. Lady B says redneck text. Mobin da bed soon. Right? Mobin a bed soon, y'all. I need to go to bed soon too. Lady B says, Rich, smiley, smiley. Melody says, Rich, something in French. And Amanda says, Ouija, did you? You didn't bring your wallet with you, did you? You might be a redneck. Lady B says, smiley, smiley. I like mayonnaise. Mayonnaise, a lot of crazy people in here tonight. Or sensuous. Sensuous. Sensuous up. Get me a cup of coffee. Amanda says, mayonnaise. See? Mayonnaise, a lot of people in here. Amanda says, sensuous. Stop reading my brain, woman. She even used coffee instead of beer. That's annoying. It's like she can read my mind. She's been watching me so long, she knows exactly how I think and how I respond to weirdness. She responds before I do. Makes me look like I'm plagiarizing her, but she's plagiarizing me psychedelically. Rich says, Angela says, Rich, if you ever had singing lessons, you would understand we are taught to sing words differently and we say them, like the word Mary should be saying Mary. Right. This helps your words be enunciated. Yeah, they're called vowels, and the way that you pronounce words, you elongate the vowel and then cut it off sharply at the end so that it fits well with harmonies and whatnot. And Debbie says, for those that do not read sign language, Jake was saying there's a whole lot of forking going on. Yeah, that. Thank you for being the interpreter. I did a show, a Hyperbole, one of my Hyperbole episodes, and I found a sign language person signing something that Biden will never be my president, Trump is my president, during the Biden administration, and I put it up in the window like a sign language person, and I just had it on loop saying that over and over again while I did the whole episode about how stupid Biden was. It's a great bit. It's funny too. There's a whole lot of forking going on. Ooh. Lady B says, Debbie, smiley, smiley. Rich says, I have learned sign language on my list. I have learning sign language on my list just below Mandarin and Russian. I know four so far, 3 to go. Right? I can speak alphabet sign language, like A, B, C, all that stuff. D, E, F, whatever. F, G, I can't remember. G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. I can do that. The rest of it, I think, is bullshit. I don't think anybody actually reads that or watches it, and that's why everybody that gets found out. Did you know that the person who was signing for Obama was found to be a fake, and they just did one in Lakeland, Florida the other week. Caught somebody that was way up high in the list faking it. I think that's bullshit. I don't think there's that many deaf people watching the news to need constant sign languagers, but that's just my opinion. Those people got a good racket going on, though. They make lots of money doing that. That's how you don't work and make a lot of money. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie, and good night. Angela says, good night, Amy. Heart. Debbie says, okay, if that is the story about the sandwiches for dinner, I talked to Amanda today. Did you? What did you tell her? I haven't. I didn't know that. I don't know what the story is. I just went and bought sandwich meat because I like sandwiches. Weird. Now I got to go find out what you ladies are catting about behind my back. Angela says, my sister talks redneck. My sister Vicky is the hardest for me to understand because she talks the fastest. Yeah. What's cool and funny about redneck is that you can have three people born in the same house, grew up at the same time under the same parents, and have three different accents. I've seen that happen. It's weird. Melody says something else in French. Linda says, good night all. See you next time. Linda, I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. God bless you. I hope you do well. Let me know if you need anything, and we'll see you next time. Sweet dreams. Amanda says, good night, Linda. And Rich says something in French. Lady B says, good night, Linda. Almost there, Jake. Stops the live. Amanda says, how about English, please? It's in the United States official language. Right on. Lady B says, I had all the feelings replaced. Fillings. I had all the fillings replaced. But you did have fillings. Yeah, fillings. I know what you're talking about. There's something about fillings that has something to do with MS, but I don't remember everything. It's something I read years ago. But they had made a correlation between the metal that they used, like cobalt or whatever it is, that they used to make fillings, liquid mercury or something. I don't know what it is. But there's something about that. Look into that. Somebody had took the metal out of their mouth and their MS symptoms went away. Something to that effect. I wish I could remember more about it, but it's a pretty interesting study years and years ago. Rich says, Amanda, you're about to cross the line, and I'm fixing to shine your bottom, young lady. I think you're biting off more than you can chew there, buddy. Then it jumped again. Okay, where you at? All right, here we go. Amanda says, Andy has a Heritage Harley sports motorcycle. No, I have a Heritage Softail. Classic. Lady B says, typo, fillings replaced. Got brain fog tonight. I hear you. Yeah, look into that. There's something about it. I don't remember what the details are, but there's something to that study. Amanda says, well, I can't see what she's saying to know if I need to break out my hammer. And Melody says something else in French. Yeah, English. We don't speak French here. If you want me to understand what you're writing, speak English, because I'm just going to skip it. Amanda says, last warning, English or I'll remove you. About to get that hammer. Rich says, we was just playing, Amanda. I started it. My apologies. Okay, no problem. Play ahead on. Even if it's at my expense. Amanda says, okay. Rich says, I'm going to time out myself. Amanda says, LOL, Rich. Rich says, smiley face. Amanda says, LOL, Jake. I know you way too well, and that's why we are good together. Yes, I agree. Angela says they are debating over the difficulty of actual English language we use compared to what Melody has been taught and thinks our language works, basically, from what I can understand. Well, I don't know what they're taught, but I know how to speak the language of my land, and I'm quite accomplished orator and communicator. So I'll stick with what I know. Melody says, Rich S, Russian language. Rich says, well done, Angel. Well done. Well played, you. Angela says, thank you, Rich. I told you I could understand more when I read it. Same with Spanish and Italian. I could too, but it takes way too much bandwidth, and I ain't got time for that. I got to go to bed. And my back teeth are floating. Amanda says everything has closed caption now. Right. And they still have those people up there doing all this. It's funny. Angela says, Amanda Hart. Amanda says, LOL, nothing. I just had to get ready for you to come home and miss a nap. And she told me to get naked and pizza would be ordered for dinner, LOL. And I told her you needed coffee first. Yeah, right. Rich S says, okay, last one for Ange in Italian. Something in Italian about Donald Trump and his ability to breathe. I'm not sure. Amy says, I know sign language. Amy says, I made it home safely. Well, that's good. I'm glad you made it home safely. God bless you. Amanda says, good, Amy. Amy says, message retracted. Angela says something in Italian. Viva la Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure that's Italian for Viva the la Donald Trump. Amy said, not directed at anyone, just sign language. I got you. I speak sign language too. Live long and prosper. Amy says, sign language. Rich says, good night, my favorite people. Rich, God bless you, my friend. Thank you for being here. I've enjoyed it. As for all of you, I've enjoyed it. Amanda says, good night, Rich. I think I'm at the bottom. Me too, sign language, says Amanda. Lady B says, good night, love you all. Angela says, no, switch what he said in Italian to Spanish. Right. And Amanda says, night, lady. Oh, y'all said the same thing. I got it. All right. That's the bottom of the chat. I'm going to bed. I love you all. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, share, support, join, super chats, and $ Jake Johnson Band on Cash App. I love you all. Have a great night. Viva la Untethered Live. Thanks for watching.